This is where you get away with trading paint. You don't do that on the bigger tracks like Charlotte and Kansas that we just went to. You don't intentionally get in the back of guys and spin them out in the corners, but here you do. And this is short track racing that we know it all through the country that happens every Friday and Saturday night. So it's pretty awesome to be able to come here. We know what we're going to get. We're going to get fireworks. And some of these drivers are going to have to do some things maybe that make them uncomfortable. How you know, what are they willing to put themselves through and put their competitors through to try to advance to the next round and go to that final?
Your values and your morals as a race car driver will be tested. This system, this point system, this racetrack together, test those values. You move somebody out of the way here, take that spot. This is where the past and the future meet, right? We crown the champion completely different than they did in 1949, right? It's a completely different system. This track's the same. The action, the intensity, the rubbing, the bumping, the fighting, all of that's the same. I love this racetrack. It's part of this sport. It's part of our culture. We need to come here more times than we do. This place creates great racing.
Well, Jeff, you talk about the fighting, the beating, and the banging. Rick, this is one of those tracks as a crew chief. You worry about strategy, you worry about car setup and managing the race, but you also have to help manage the emotion. Both of your pit crew, these pit stalls are small. You're not going to have easy in, easy out, and your driver. You can tell when he's fired up, Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Get on the radio, help calm him down. Don't make a situation worse.
During the pre-race show, Parker mentioned he was involved in an altercation with Johnny Sauter. He said, well, you have to listen to your spotter, your crew. They tell you what happened because a lot of times you don't know. Well, in that case that you just brought up, Steve, your crew is going to tell you what they think happened, and I'm sure they're going to favor your opinion. Here they come to the green flag. We're about to get underway in Martinsville.
Oh, a little brake smoke right there. A little tire smoke from locking up the brakes.
Out of that 7 of Allgaier.
You see all these drivers just trying to get to the inside. The inside is where you want to run. That outside line is not where you want to be. You don't want to, you're going to get passed by a lot of cars if you get moved up there and you're not able to find a way to get to the bottom.
You can make it work early, though. A lot of guys drive to the bottom and it slows the inside line down. So the first 3 or 4 laps, you can jump up on the outside. See Ty Gibbs going after Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric needs a good, clean race today. He's probably not going to contest that really toughly right now.
For the lead, that's Ty Gibbs on the inside, and Austin Cindric trying to hang on to the position on the outside.
Austin is working pretty hard to keep it, Jeff. Surprised that he's put himself in this situation with the 54 car on the inside, braking early in a race, not really understanding how much brake balance they have. That 54 could easily get loose underneath him here.
He's giving him a lot of room, though, not crowding him. You know, for Martinsville, that's a lot of room. That wouldn't be for Charlotte, although they're banging into each other.
A little bumping and banging, and Cindric clears him. So he'll dive into turn number 1, and he regains the top spot.
Ty Gibbs ran very well here in the spring. Really fast race car.
The uniqueness about this racetrack, we talked about the history, but the curbing in the turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that curbing literally can upset your car when you go in there if you hit that curbing.
The fast way around a lot of times is right against it, so you're trying your hardest to get to it and stay there. But the left front tire bumps that curbing, it can send you up the racetrack just enough to allow somebody to get underneath you off the corner.
The other thing, guys, we're keeping an eye on as this race goes on. Right now, everybody's just all over the curb, even on corner entry, right? They're driving to the racetrack, go to the bottom, just immediately to the curb. As these tires start to wear, you see right there, the 54 loose. As these tires start to wear, they'll open that entry up and start entering higher. Can't do that right now, because if you do, somebody will drive underneath you. You really change your driving style as this race goes on.
Marty, the 7 of Allgaier, saw a little tire smoke out of him early. Is that going to be an issue?
They have not mentioned actually that, Rick, and I was going to tell you that Justin Allgaier said nothing about the brakes or a tire issue at all in the 7 car. But listen to his pre-race speech to his race team.
Appreciate all the hard work to get to this point. No matter the outcome of today, y'all have done an amazing job this year. I want so bad to race for Championship next week, and I hope to do that for you guys. So
You know, Dave, it's almost like just getting to Phoenix with a shot to win the title. That's what race teams really want these days. That's certainly what Justin Allgaier wants this evening.
He sure does. So does Austin Cindric. And remember, he raced the 54 of Ty Gibbs for a few laps on that high side. Well, radio from crew chief Brian Wilson to spotter Coleman Presley was, I don't like how long we spent up there. I don't know if it was fear of getting doored by the 54 or if it was how much that would wear on the tires. But Brian Wilson said next time we need to get him down quicker into that preferred inside line.
Looking back at the Ford Performance onboard camera of Cindric here, now about a car length in between himself and Ty Gibbs.
Hard to believe you heard Jeff mention Ty Gibbs ran this race in the spring, ran fourth actually. This is the first track he gets a repeat performance in the Xfinity car. I mean, so many wins, you would think he has done this for years, but his first year, a rookie, you see the yellow rear bumper, that signifies that he's a rookie to the rest of his competitors. But using that experience, we'll see. I mean, fourth is impressive. I think he does have a chance, so if you can believe it, to improve on that on the second trip to Martinsville.
22 car driving away from the 54 just a little bit now, and that's allowed him to adjust or try different lines in the corner. He's up the racetrack a little bit in the middle.
Here comes Harrison Burton in the 20, looking at the inside of Brandon Jones.
So right here, Brandon's got a big gap behind those two cars. Dylan Gregson's the next car. Be a really good opportunity for Brandon just to roll in behind. Obviously, car not quite as good as Harrison's right now, so just get in as quickly as you can. It's all about making lap time, right? Got a competition caution coming soon. Don't give up any spots to the 9 car behind you.
Lap 25 is that competition caution. A.J. Allmendinger goes to the inside of Ty Gibbs to try to take second away now. Seeing a little bit of the rotors glowing on Allmendinger's car.
Yeah, pretty standard. You know, that's one thing about night racing here. You know,
Oh, we got a car spinning around in turn 3 and 4. Number 90 car goes around. Preston Cardis.
So the caution will come out, and Preston Cardis does get turned around.
He was on an under.
You're going to have to make a hole. You're going to have to make a hole.
Saying make a hole, meaning get going before the leaders come by. I see him on the inside of the 6 car here, Ryan Vargas, and he gets a little bit loose. That's one of the things that happens here, and that's what I was worried about earlier with the 54 car on the inside of the 22 is getting into the corner and braking. You can wheel hop and spin this thing out.
NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with HD in-car cameras, or you can select alternate camera angles to see more action. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app today. Dylan.
Well, Rick, we heard at the start of the race how Noah Gregson was not going to be shy about using his front bumper if necessary. Here was his crew chief Dave Ellen's advice.
Execute today. Stop. Appreciate it. Sir, have some fun today. Remember the red spoilers move easier. 10-4.
And they said our front bumper is stronger than everybody else's rear bumper. Don't be afraid to use it.
That's some aggressive pep talk, but I do understand what he's saying. The red spoilers, that's what insigniates this 8 car still in the playoffs. I think what he means is they kind of are probably more concerned about what you have to gain than they are to lose, so they're going to move easier, perhaps give you the spot easier. NASCAR's let us know. We said the comp yellow was going to be around lap 20. Now they've said it'll be around lap 30. It's supposed to be around lap 25. Now it's going to be around lap 30 just because now we have some caution laps. So you see this choose rule. That's kind of changed racing here in Martinsville. You used to play games off pit road to try to get to the bottom. And Dale, you talked about how important the bottom lane is. Well, now as a driver, if you think you can gain some spots, you can choose the outside and probably move up a few rows.
Yeah, definitely be aggressive with that. You're getting information from your spotter about how many cars are choosing that inside line. He'll just count and give you the option to be able to choose that line as well or move to that outside if you think you can gain.
A little surprised. Talk about how aggressive Noah Gregson and his team's pumping him up to be aggressive. He could have picked the outside there and lined up in 8th. Instead, he picked on the inside, is much further back. Only a few laps to go before the competition caution.
We'll see how he ends up, that inside line, the preferred line as they come back through the restart zone.
Those stacked up deep in the field, the cars kind of swerve left and right. Doesn't look like anybody got severe damage.
Happens easy here, though. The chain reaction, one guy checks up, something happens in the corner. Guy 10 rows back gets the damage because of that chain reaction.
And that chain reaction is why I like the outside for a few laps. The bottom gets checked up, and the outside can just roll. See Sam Mayer in that number 8 car. That's where Noah Gregson could have lined up had he taken that top lane.
Sam Mayer in the 8s as we see Cindric getting a little pressure now from A.J. Allmendinger in the 16.
Riding along the bumper cam, Nutrient Ag Solutions providing us this awesome shot showing the yaw, the set of the 22 car in the corner and how that car's rotating to get around there.
There's so many things to look at right here, but really focus on that left rear tire and the sidewall, the left side of it. You're going to see how low the air pressure is and how heavy these cars are. It's going to like move to the left. I mean, look at that thing. It's shaking around on the wheel. So low on air pressure, they start under 10 pounds.
Yeah, Steve, I was looking at what Goodyear suggested as the minimum tire pressure, and it was 10 pounds of air. I don't think, there's definitely not a production car out there that would suggest 10 pounds of air in your tire.
Yeah, if you're working on your car at home, you're probably somewhere between 35 and 45 PSI to go up and down the highway. Goodyear suggests 10. Most teams probably running 8, 8.5, or 9, just because it allows that left rear tire to have way more grip. It also helps the car turn, so it's kind of like a win-win. Turn the middle and drive off.
Marty.
Hey guys, Harrison Burton sitting in the 8th spot right now in a tight battle there with the 11 car, another playoff driver, and having trouble with the car on entry. Listen to the radio.
Near the corners, chatter, the rear tires there. Haven't used the brake to calm it down. Has it been doing it the whole time, or did it just the last 10 laps? It really started as soon as I got out from behind the 19. Got much worse. It was a little bit free in the center, but as soon as I got out from behind him, it got worse.
So Junior, he's talking about chattering the rear tires on entry, also a little wheel hop as well, which I would assume cannot be fun here at Martinsville.
Yeah, that's exactly how we see guys get spun out when they're on the inside of somebody trying to charge the braking zone. And when those tires start to chatter and you have a car on your right, you go for a spin just about every time if you don't take that guy out with you. So happens a lot here, and this is a cold night. It's cold. The temperatures in those tires, the temperature in the track surface, that's going to induce a little bit of chatter. It's going to be possible to happen throughout the event, especially on new tires.
A little bit higher up the racetrack with the 98 of Riley Herbst. Brandon Jones having to check up there on the bottom of the screen. Michael Annette in the 1.
And Brandon Jones, one of those drivers we feel like needs to win if he wants to continue on in these playoffs, losing valuable track position right here.
Brandon Jones got kind of to the outside, as you mentioned, with some contact with the 9. And look at, he is battling My concern about the outside, you guys talk about speed. As a crew chief, I'm dreaming about that right rear tire, and at this point I'm having a little bit of a nightmare because I think you're wearing the right rear tire more running the top, Jeff. I think you have to work that tire harder to make lap time.
I think we see a little bit of water coming out of the 31 car. That's Josh Berry right there at the bottom of the screen. Could be running hot as the caution comes out, comp yellow.
There's that competition caution. We've talked a lot about points. Every position on the racetrack is worth a point. Points are given at the end of each stage. Stage 1, the top 10 could receive points. At the end of stage 2, the top 10 could receive points there as well.
250 laps, it doesn't take long to start to get a little frustrated. It starts right here, Brandon Jones. Yeah, I think he's a little higher in entry because he's going to try to pass the 11 in front of him. The 11 hits the curb, gets stacked up. The 9 is into the rear bumper. Look at the 19, very low down the straightaway, defensive. Noah says, man, you can't block me 30 laps in this race. A little bump in the left rear tire, up he goes, and by the 9 goes. What seems harmless, the question is, how did Jones take that?
Right.
Did he take that as, I was blocking you, I knew that was coming? Or did he take that with, how dare you, this early in the race? Continue to watch these two and how they race each other.
And Steve, as you mentioned, how did the spotter see it and how did the crew chief see it? Because they're the ones who are going to talk to him and say, hey, he's racing you dirty or he's racing you clean.
Well, if you look at where Brandon Jones is in points, right, he's minus 40. I'm probably not talking him off the ledge. I'm probably saying, don't let him do that all day.
A little more aggressive here on Halloween weekend from Martinsville. Watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs, Dead on Tools 250 from Martinsville Speedway. Rut.
Rick, Akinori Ogata is in the 78 car tonight for BJ McLeod Motorsports. He moved to the U.S. in 2010 because he loved racing at home in Japan, and he moved to where else? Mooresville, North Carolina. He is a regular out at Hickory Motor Speedway running late models. He dreams of racing full-time in the Cup Series, and with a love of racing and as a 48-year-old and a lot of gratitude for his sponsors, including Toyota, it might just be possible, guys. Someone to watch out here that loves racing.
Akinori, motocross driver, started out in 1987, won 30 feature races, and so made the switch from four wheels to from two wheels to four wheels now as he taking on the short track here at Martinsville as we get ready for the restart. Cindric and Allmendinger. Allmendinger on the outside, Cindric on the inside, and Hemrick trying to hold that inside line if he can, but there's a gap there. If Allmendinger would want to take it, it's gone now.
This is the risk starting on the outside, even of the front row. Right now, Allmendinger under attack from Hemrick, and he knows he has to battle because right behind Hemrick on the bottom is that 7 of Allgaier. So they're going to continue to fill that inside line.
How long can A.J. Allmendinger stay on the outside here?
He's got a chance right here to clear down in front of the 7, and he does. It's a little bit loose there, getting into the corner. Still fighting for drive on the corner exit. Look at this battle right here between two non-playoff drivers. These guys have a little bit of a history in the past, racing the K&N series and so forth.
Right behind them, that 39 of Ryan Sieg. We talk about Talladega all the time as the great equalizer because of the draft. I think of Martinsville a little the same way. Not quite when it comes to like horsepower and aerodynamics, but the point being that just a solid race car driver and a crew chief with a solid understanding of car mechanics can take decent equipment and run up front here at Martinsville. You don't have to have the most horsepower or the most downforce, Dave.
And the 54, of course, with very good equipment and knowledge of this track now, even as a young man. Ty Gibbs needs this car to be adjusted a little bit. It is just too free right now for him to work his way forward. Remember, started in the 2nd position, has fallen back to 5th.
And 2 drivers we were talking about that have to win, Noah Gregson and Harrison Burton. Harrison picked the outside on that restart, didn't work. Noah locked the left front tire up, getting into turn 3, got up the racetrack, made some contact. And then as he drive into turn 1, Harrison got loose. We talked earlier about a little bit of wheel hop. He got loose getting into turn 1.
We talk about must-win situations for these drivers. To advance, you can win and advance into that championship 4. But this is the last opportunity, so that means only 1 driver is going to advance by winning potentially, and that means 3 are going to get into the championship 4 based on points tonight.
Man, it looks like all these cars are really fighting rear grip, sliding around. We've seen AJ's car a little bit loose on corner entry. The 11 car struggling out there, though, Parker.
Right, Dale, as you see right now, he's the lowest running of the playoff drivers, back in 20th. And just after that competition caution, take a listen to what he had to say on the radio about the handling condition of that car.
Man, I can't get off the corner to save my life. Plus the left front tire's dead. Like it's just nothing. Pushing the tires into the ground. I got no grip. Just doesn't finish the corner.
And before that, he talked about the car being loose on entry as well, so a litany of issues. But I can sort of attest to how that feels, because I had the same condition the truck race. You see him just touching the curb there. That's not going to help it either. And really, when you're in that position, the only thing you can do around this track, when the bottom groove is the only groove, is start to just slow up and try and beg that car to turn. The team asked him to adjust those brake levers, which means he can move where the brake bias is to try and help that car just turn through the center. But right now, to no avail, running in 20th. He's got a big uphill battle here.
What a great shot here from the Leaf Home Solutions camera, right on the bumper.
And he talks about not finishing the corner. So right here through the middle, he's going to pick up the gas. And what he's looking for is that last like 15% of concrete before it goes to the asphalt. He wants the car to continue to turn. I think as he starts to pick up the throttle, it wants to go straight too quickly, like right here. He can't get into the throttle as much as he wants. Oh, it's big damage on the 8 of Sam Mayer.
The caution's out on the racetrack. Right front tires come apart.
54 brake check, you're off the corner.
Oh, radio says there's a contact between the 8 and the 54. Dale, you mentioned these two have a history of racing together.
Yeah, apparently they even have more history now.
Well, we'll have to take a look and see, but you mentioned that these guys have run a lot of K&N races together, ARCA races together. Now they've moved up to the Xfinity series together. 2 young drivers with a lot of talent, both in very good equipment. Ty getting, kind of getting the success early. Let's take a look at what happens on the racetrack. This is late.
Already before, yeah. So, they were racing each other pretty hard. I don't know what exactly happened on the racetrack, but some big damage to the front of this 8 car. And it's probably done some, it's done some damage to the radiator and so forth.
Sam's a really good race car driver. This is the issue he's had, is finishing races. Like, he was running well. Had good speed, had good restarts, running 6th place. But, the laps that he's losing are going to hurt him going into next year. This is an opportunity for him to get tons of laps and learn as much as he can. That's That's the shortcoming right now with Sam. See some guys right now coming on pit road. It's just trying to find a way to finish races.
Noah Gregson is in, said that the car was just building too tight, and he also is having a problem locking up the left front. So you see big chassis adjustment there in the back window. Going to try to get the center freed up on the 9, Marty.
So Dylan, here is the freedom of just racing for lap 250, and that's it. All those teams that needed stage points, they stayed out. The guys who need just to win tonight, they pit, including Harrison Burton, saying the car just a little bit too tight, still chattering the rears a little bit on entry, Dave.
Brandon Jones said his 19 car has good security on entry. Just when he got on that outside line, too free. That's why he fell back. He'll take 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
So we'll take a look at this replay here and see exactly what happened between the 54 and the 8 Ty Gibbs. Sam Mayer coming off the corner. Oh yeah, looks like the 54 just brake checks him. Sam runs in the back of him. And there you have it. So drama already early in this race. It's coming to pit road, and we're gonna have a restart when we come back.
Racing under the lights at Martinsville Speedway, just a few laps away from the first opportunity for drivers to get those stage points, which everybody is fighting for any points they can get in this race.
And a big split in the field. You heard Marty mention it when cars were on pit road, but Gregson, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, Haley all pitted because they're thinking that was their best chance for later in the race. They may give up stage points, but it's be a scary time deep in the field at a short track for those 4 playoff contenders.
Cindric, Allgaier, Hemrick, and Allmendinger, top 4. Top 10 at the end of each stage will fight for the stage points. And again, Cindric and Allmendinger looking strong. Running up front here in the top 4. Coming in with the most points. Trying to lock up a spot in the championship 4. Back here you see Noah Gregson in the 9 on the inside, that preferred line. Harrison Burton on the outside in the 20. Now 3 wide at Martinsville.
It's a real aggressive move. You want to be the first car on tires when this caution comes out. Noah knows that.
Gregson already up to 13th.
And it's tough back here trying to keep your car clean, keep your nose clean, but also trying to take advantage of moving forward, getting through some of this traffic. Oh, trying to go 3 wide and hoping that everybody around you knows what's going on.
Parker.
Well, guys, we watch this awesome racing. The bottom of the screen, the top of the screen, you see that 18 and Daniel Hemrick trying to chase down Austin Cindric, but that's not really the point. Take a listen to what the team told them just before we went green here.
This point, the playoff point doesn't matter. Keeping the 7 behind us does. Yeah, different.
And that's exactly what he did on that restart. Kept the 7 of Justin Allgaier behind him, making points up there. Maybe if he can get that 22 easily, they'll go for it. But here, getting those points, most important to find themselves fighting for a championship next week.
Under 2 laps to go. Playoff points, you would get a playoff point if you won the stage. Doesn't matter anymore because in the championship 4, no points go forward. As we're on the final lap of stage 1 here at Martinsville for the Xfinity Series. Austin Cindric looking for another stage win. This would be his 12th stage win of the season. He's put together a pretty dominant season already. And a great stage 1 here at Martinsville. 10 points for finishing first, all the way down to 1 point for finishing 10th in the stage. And again, drivers that are looking for those points, actually all of the playoff drivers. Gregson, after changing tires, actually got up into the top 10. He was 7th at the end of that stage. Again, he came to pit road at lap 49. Austin Cindric wins stage 1. It's time to play with everybody's favorite killer doll, Chucky. He's back taking over your television with a classic coming-of-age story. Check out new episodes every Tuesday on USA and Sci-Fi at 10, 9 Central. And stream the latest episodes on demand now. And stage 1, take a look at the points earned by the playoff drivers. Austin Cindric grabbing 10 with the win, all the way down to Noah Gregson got 4. Harrison Burton, Justin Haley, and Brandon Jones not receiving points. Parker.
It's a job well done for Daniel Hemrick, outscoring Justin Allgaier and Justin Haley. He talked about how that car, he can't handle it being any free on entry, but needs to move the corner around, meaning he needs it to turn later on the corners before Goodyear tires and fuel for the 18.
AJ Allmendinger, his report, no launch off the corner, going to put a wedge wrench in the right rear, make an air pressure adjustment as well for Allmendinger, Marty.
Justin Allgaier said a little tight, 2/3 mark of the corner, but really, honestly, not much to complain about. Very happy with the 7-car, Dave.
Austin Cindric led every lap of the race up to this point. 10 stage points earned means they may start to build toward being aggressive in this race, but not yet. He hasn't locked himself in at this point.
On the update of points, the 19 and 20. So Brandon Jones and Harrison Burton, they are officially in a must-win situation if they want to make it to the championship 4. under the lights at Martinsville Speedway. Let's go to the infield and run.
You know, Rick, Martinsville was a monumental moment in 1990 for a 23-year-old named Jeff Burton. It was the first of 27 career Busch Series wins for that young Virginia driver. That day, he raced the number 12 Armor Meets Buick. In 94, Burton entered the Cup Series full-time, winning 21 times in a career that spanned nearly 700 races. And Kim can still run in khakis like that today. Unbelievable to think what this track means to so many people throughout history. Jeff, do you remember those days? That was a good time.
I do remember those days. I grew up coming here as a kid watching races. Sitting in the grandstands getting sunburned, watching my heroes race, and to get a chance to come here and race late models. I was listening to the MRN to a cup race, working on my car, and they announced they were going to run a late model race here, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, oh my God, we're going to be able to run Martinsville. This place is really cool.
And now Kim is watching your son race here. Harrison Burton out there on the track.
And her enthusiasm for all this hasn't changed one bit.
Not at all. Getting ready for the restart. Noah Gregson will be on the inside, and Ty Gibbs will be on the outside of row 1 as we get ready to start stage 2 here at Martinsville.
Same situation as the last restart, just in reverse. The cars that stayed out to score stage points are deep in the field. They'll have to be very patient working through traffic.
Preston Pardis doesn't get a very good restart. Now he's in the center there, 3 wide.
First oval start for Preston Pardis. He's normally on road courses, the Miata champion.
And he's used to close contact. Those Miatas, they race. It's crazy how hard they race. He's not going to feel out of place.
He gets shuffled out on that outside line now as Myatt Snyder and the 2 will try to close the gap.
Right here, 7 of Justin Allgaier on the outside. Oh, gonna make it 3 wide contact.
That's what I was talking about. You know, you're going to be in positions like that where 3 wide is an option, but does everybody know where everybody's at? And sometimes it looks like an option and it's really not, right? In that case right there, I don't think 3 wide was going to work. Justin tried to slide in there and make it happen, but Weatherman there did a good job saving that car.
See, now he's trying to get to the bottom.
He's in there.
J.J. Haley doesn't want him to get to the bottom.
Marty.
Rick, with so many different agendas tonight, Justin Allgaier and Jason Burdett knew this would be the case at some point in the race tonight. Listen on the radio before the last caution.
Now, this is exactly what we talked about beforehand, you know. We just gotta weather the storm. Be smart. Copy that.
Be smart in traffic like this. Jeff, when you're in traffic like that and you have a car as good as Justin Allgaier has, and you're also fighting for a championship, how in the world are you patient?
It's so hard, but you have to understand, lap 74 of 250, right? And I think that's Justin Allgaier's one of his strengths, is understanding. There's a big picture here. This is a long race. This is only 1 lap within that race. You got to be there at the end and just use the best judgment you can.
Allgaier running in that 19th position. You see him now putting pressure on the 48. That's Jade Buford. And for 4th place, Harrison Burton in the 20 on the inside of Jeremy Clements. Looking back from that Toyota onboard of Harrison Burton.
Work on that 10 now.
Great shot right here. Listen to when he gets on the throttle. Really want to be able to do is just pass the center of the corner. Go to throttle and go to it hard. Right here, car points. If you can go to the throttle, the car turns and rear tires hook up, that's what you're looking for.
I tell you what, Jeff, this is a Denny Hamlin-esque type throttle move. He waits maybe a car length longer than some others, but when he goes to the throttle, it's one time.
Looking at the lead cars, or the cars running up front, that had to come to pit road trying to battle their way back through lap traffic. A little contact there, Jade Buford. And the 22 is Cindric. Cindric dives down in there. A little bit of a dive bomb move that late in the corner.
What's interesting between those two, Jade Buford and Austin Cindric co-drove in 2015 for the same team. And now racing against each other, Dave.
Austin Cindric maybe being a little aggressive because he knew that pitting and giving up the lead would leave some cars out on the racetrack in front of him, but this many?
These are all the cars that stayed out.
Yeah. You're P18.
Sick.
It's like he knew that was going to be the case, but when he heard the number 18, it's like, ah. So now the 22's agenda, make it through here safely. Pass cars one at a time. Don't jeopardize a trip to Phoenix next week with the championship in mind. And if we get enough points in stage 2, then maybe we can go aggressive and go try to win the race.
One advantage I think Austin Cindric has is the car behind him, AJ Allmendinger. If you notice that when he got into Jade Buford, AJ kind of stepped back and said, y'all figure it out. That orange number 16 behind the 22. I think he's confident. Austin Cindric's going to the front. He wants to follow him through. And you see, you know, he stays close enough to fill the hole that the 22 creates right here of the 19. Tries to stay underneath it with this great bumper cam from Nutrient Ag Solutions. But you see a nice half a car length gap in front of him. No risk. Let's not knock the bumpers off. Let's be a little patient. Austin, you do the hard work. I'll follow you through.
Almost the running back-esque here. Fullback is Austin Cindric. The running back, tailback back there with AJ Allmendinger as he continues to block for him and makes the move toward the front. Everyone's still chasing after Noah Gregson here at Martinsville. We go NASCAR nonstop. Go inside the headset with access to NASCAR Scanner for only $4.99. You can listen in on pit strategy, spotter communications, crew chief calls, and what your favorite driver has to say throughout the race. Visit NASCAR.com/scanner. You can start your subscription tonight.
Good work by Noah Gregson using some lap traffic. The 54 looked like he was up beside the 9, and the 9 used the 23 to kind of pick the 54. Now, unfortunately, I do think the 54 has a little more pace, so I'm not sure it's going to get any easier for the 9 as we run.
Running in 5th place, Jeremy Clements doing a good job keeping that position. He's got a trail of cars lined up behind him trying to get around the 11 of Haley. Look at all these cars back there trying to figure out a way to get around this 51. Haley's been up underneath him multiple times for that position, and he's fended it off, maintaining 5th.
Jeremy Clements is a really good racer. He is not going to be an easy pass. These short tracks, They really help these smaller teams, Junior. I think, you know, some of their aerodynamic advantages that the bigger teams have, that goes away. You really rely on your notes from the last race. Dave.
So with the win last week at Kansas, Ty Gibbs in that white 54 became the youngest driver to ever win 4 Xfinity Series races. And that was 1 month better than a young Joey Logano a few years back. So Ty's plans now, well, he's won the ARCA Championship. Get ready for next year. Next week, it will be John Hunter Nemechek driving this car, trying to win the Owners' Championship for Joe Gibbs Racing, Parker.
Well, Dave, for Justin Haley, he came to this race 7 points below the cut line, scored no stage points there in stage 1. That car was incredibly tight. I took a look at the right front tire. It did have some weird wear on it. The team made some large adjustments when he flipped the stage and now finds himself in a far better position handling-wise than that 11. That car is finally turning through the center right now, running in 6. A lot happened to that 11 car, but still needs some work.
And Parker, Noah Gregson is the race leader, and of course comes in here with a couple of really strong finishes, a 3rd and 2nd in his 2 starts here in Martinsville. Dave Ellens, the crew chief, said, we expect to lead laps and get there if we're not. Well, they did that with a little bit of pit strategy, but they've got the car better now, too. Noah came on the radio after that last caution, said, we've really got something now. Gonna need a little bit more, though, I think, Marty, to hold off the 54.
Dylan looking like a 3-way battle for the lead, actually, as Harrison Burton creeps into the picture now. All these teams that pitted at lap 49 are all the teams that were in a must-win scenario. So Jason Ratcliffe made the call before the end of stage 1 to bring Harrison down pit road. So Steve, for crew chiefs like Jason Ratcliffe, they're able to hang on to this track position now. How open is the playbook when you don't worry about stage points? All you're worried about is the win.
Well, I think the concern these guys are going to have is, one, you're right. The playbook's open because they don't have to worry about the end of this stage. If it runs green to the end of this stage, then it's just about what strategy is the best to win the race. Interestingly enough, these teams have 4 sets of Goodyear tires in their pits. That's 4. Oh, man. The 54 of Ty Gibbs straight up the racetrack.
Big wheel hop, Steve. You can see the left rear wheel bouncing up and down as he entered turn 3.
There you go. Braking a concern for the 54. Had that wheel hop get in. I was going to mention a lot of Goodyear tires. Let's take another look at it. In front of the 20, the 54, that left rear tire. Oh, yeah, Jeff, it starts to hop up and down. He has no choice but to kind of get off the brakes, miss the corner. Better than spinning the car out. Good move.
See it? See the left rear tire? You can actually see it bouncing up and down on the racetrack. You're right, Steve. That was a good save by Ty Gibbs. Junior, you talked about it earlier. If he was underneath a car right there, there would have been nothing he could do. He would have spun the guy out on the outside of him. It's so hard to drive a car here with loose on entry and wheel hopping.
And now 1 and 2. The 2 guys we talked about at the top of the show that are pretty much in must-win situations are at the front of the field. The 9 car, Noah Gregson, the best on roads, the best on short tracks this year, average finish. The guy with the best career average finish on short tracks running 2nd there.
Be a little more glow than the 20 did.
And the 20 has a ton of pace right here. It's an opportunity for him to not only take the lead, but control the race.
You heard that radio right there, a little more glow. They're talking about the front rotors. Now, one thing at night, they always run warm, but at night they're just so much easier to see. So if you look inside the front wheel, left front of the 9 versus the 20, the 9 is definitely brighter. Now, not a concern for failure, but it definitely means Noah's using more brakes. Now, crew chief Dave Ellens is going to keep an eye on that, decide if he has to back his driver off. You know, these brakes expect to get very, very hot, you know, 12, 15, 16, 1700 degrees operating temperature. But you can use too much front brake, have them fade, and then have the issue the 54 saw, right? If the front brakes stop working, the rears work too much, and then you go back to that wheel hop issue we saw with the 54.
Let's talk about, Junior, how hard it is to pass here and what both drivers are trying to do. So we're watching Harrison right here. See how he's entering high? He enters high, trying to be able to turn and leave the corner lower than Noah. As watch Noah when he enters the corner. Now he's opened his entry up. That's as high as he's been, actually too high right there. But he was trying to do the same thing. Open the entry up, don't turn as soon to try to leave lower.
He might look in the mirror and see that he actually created a little more distance between him and then continue to use that line as he does it there in 3 and 4. That high entry moves up the racetrack because all the speed is made on corner exit, getting in the throttle sooner than everyone else. So if you
don't overdrive it. Let him do that. You keep hitting your marks here. You're way better than he is.
If you open up the entry, you turn the car across the bottom, and now you're in the gas. If you don't open the entry, you cannot get in the gas. You're still turning on corner exit. So this helps them be able to get to the gas sooner and make that straightaway longer in a sense.
The other thing that happens here, Junior, is that the track starts changing a lot. So you can actually you can actually run the second groove sometimes as the rubbers start laying down. I don't know how much rubber is going to get laid down at night, but it really can run that second groove at times.
Here's opportunity for that 20 car of Harrison Burton to find a way around the 9 of Gregson. Does Gregson choose wisely or correctly with this lap traffic as they're battling side by side here? He's going to throw a Hail Mary here for a 3 wide, really force the situation to try to keep this lead. He's desperate to capitalize on every single point he can in this stage and keep this race lead. Little contact right there.
These two drivers have had incidents on track. They've gone to blows off track, become friends. There's a no-win situation here between the two of them, because if one has to win, what will they be willing to do? What will that one person, and what will Harrison Burton be willing to do if he knows he has to go by the 9?
So that's where you and I disagree. It is a win situation. Win for me, too bad for you. like if I'm the crew chief of either of these drivers, the last thing I want to hear is he's your buddy or he's your friend. Why did we waste our time coming here if we're going to race our buddies? This is not high school sports. This isn't junior high football. These are professional athletes trying to make it to the next level. Harrison Burton has the ride next year. If I'm Dave Ellens, I'm coaching Noah Gregson up to take and take and take. That's what you have to do at this level, because that's what they're going to see today. And if you think that's bad, wait till tomorrow. Those Cup drivers are ruthless. These guys can learn that at this level.
Good drive on exit.
Here's Austin Cindric in the 22, making the move on Jeremy Clements in that 51.
Steve, I also think, Steve, knowing when the right time is, right? We're not even, there's still 138 laps to go. I know it's a stage end, but they don't care about stages. I know Harrison doesn't. He's in a must-win situation. It's about being in the position to win this race. Now's not desperation time. Now is track position time. What does my car need to do better? How do I make the car drive better? What do I need? That's what right now is about. Get that track position. If you can pass him, do it. You got to take it. But it is all about positioning yourself to get the checkered flag for Harrison.
Don't fall into his marks.
Yeah, don't create an enemy on your way by with this much racing left to go.
Let's listen into the 22 radio.
If we both get past the 51, I think we are locked in. No guarantees, but I think we're locked in there. No need to be aggressive.
So they're already looking at points, the 22 team, and now as the 20 of Harrison Burton, he's closed the gap on Noah Gregson all the way to the back bumper.
And this is while Noah's been in pretty clean air. So we're seeing the best of both cars right here, knowing now the 20 has the pace. Lap traffic was giving him the opportunity to catch that 9 car before, but now Noah may have used up the good in this 9 car. He's having to move around, search.
Use that clean air in the bottom of the roll to him like you're doing. Doing good. Just don't get too tight to the curb.
And opening up the corner is not an option anymore when you got a guy on your bumper. You have to be a little bit more shallow on entry, and you can't run the line that you'd really prefer to run, and that takes even more speed out of the car. You really end up getting so slow in the middle of the corner, and you see how the 20 car is able to close right there in the middle.
The strength of the 20 car right now is in the center of the corner. That's great. The problem is if the guy in front of you can get off the corner the same as you, how are you going to pass? So if Harrison was able to get in front of Noah, that center of the corner speed, I bet he'd run 2/10 a lap faster than Noah can. But it's impossible to pass with just speed in the center of the corner. It's a one-lane racetrack. Where are you going to go?
Well, I think the idea for the 20, a good option would be to try to open up that entry like the 9 was doing earlier. He's going to need to cross him over on corner exit and to be able to accelerate more on corner exit than the 9 car. So enter high, turn across the bottom here and get up underneath him on corner exit if the car can do it.
He tried to do it that time and really opened the entry up. Look how much wider he is on corner entry. Oh, got an opportunity here, Noah, up the racetrack.
Can he capitalize on it? The final lap of stage 2.
Just go opposite him, whatever lane he does, go top, go top.
Harrison to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets to his inside for the stage 2 win.
You're good here. Stay off of
Gonna
it.
get it. Burton
Good job
second.
right there. Stay.
I love the playoffs.
I have to say Harrison was very smart right there. Could have been pretty aggressive with that move, but he knows it's not about stage points. It's not about a stage win for him. He has to win, save the right front of that car, saved himself any damage that he probably could have gotten.
This is how close it was.
And I couldn't agree more with Dale Jr. there. It would look a whole lot different, I think, if that was coming to the black and white checkered flag.
Stage 2 goes to Noah Gregson. So Cindric wins stage 1, Gregson stage 2. Harrison Burton, Gregson both in great position. Tomorrow on NBC, Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott and the 5-1 Cowboys are going to be visiting Minnesota to face Dalvin Cook and the 3-3 Vikings. That coverage starts at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America. And you are watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. Dead on Tools 250 under the lights at Martinsville. Austin Cindric officially locked into the championship 4. He will be trying to defend his championship from a year ago. Another driver that's locked himself in, A.J. Allmendinger. Now with enough points, those 2 positions are filled. There's only 2 left to go, Steve.
And Rick, you want to win a race and be locked in before you come to this, the final race of the round. But it's great to see that on the screen with a stage left to go. That's going to free both Allmendinger and Cindric up to really enjoy this final stage at Martinsville.
Guys coming to pit road now. Parker.
Daniel Hemrick will pit out of the 6th place position here. He talked about how the right rear started to get greasy as the run went on there, just lacking drive off the corners. They're going to make some small air pressure adjustments to try to put that right rear in the track. 4 tires for him, Dylan.
Leader Noah Gregson said he needs to be 3 numbers freer from the center exit at the start of the run. Another chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for the 9, Marty.
Harrison Burton told Jason Radcliffe, we're close, we're real close. So impressive at the end of that run. He said, I need a little bit more rear security to complete passes, Dave.
Austin Cindric will get 4 tires and fuel. He said, I need to be able to wrap the bottom a little bit better. Air pressure adjustment for that. And now he will, quote unquote, race for fun. We'll see if that means a win, guys.
It's such a tight pit road as we watch him coming off of pit road. Noah Gregson able to hold on to that top spot. And Harrison Burton keeps 2nd. Ty Gibbs holds on to 3rd. Cindric grabs the spot. Jeff Burton loses 1. Parker, Justin Haley back on pit road in front of you.
Right, Rick. Just a couple laps before the caution, the team noted that the left rear brake rotor looked like it was glowing very brightly. Then the caution came out. Justin Haley came over the radio and said the pedal is going to the floor. I've got no brakes whatsoever. And then when he came in for his pit here, the left rear caught on fire. They put a fire extinguisher on it, and then he was able to get away. And then every time he pulled away, it started to ignite again. And it sounds like there may even be brake fluid coming out now, Steve, which you know means this could be a larger issue if the brake fluid is coming out the back and actually onto the rotors there, causing that fire and potentially putting them in a really bad spot.
Okay, so we see fire inside the wheel wells all the time during pit stops. When rubber gets near the brakes, it catches on fire. I don't know if this is the cause or the failure, but the simple fact is if it continues to catch on fire, that's not rubber. That means there's fluid, as Parker said. He said there's no brake pedal. So I don't know if there was, say, a tire rubber fire that burned through the brake line and therefore they have fluid issues, or if it was a brake failure that caused the fire with brake fluid. Regardless, though, no brake pedal and a continued fire in the left rear, this 11 car is done. I mean, this is something they may be able to repair, but it's going to take many, many, many laps. You see them in there working. So the problem here is you run brake ducts to cool them, so it's not as easy to get to that caliper in the line as it would be at, say, a Charlotte or a Miami, a bigger racetrack. So the team's going to try to do the best. Not to mention that rotor is 1,000 degrees, so you just can't reach in there and grab a hold of it. They're going to put the tire back on and try to save the day, but now Justin Haley coming in the points position he was, he's gonna need a lot of help to be one of the cars that advance out of here with a chance to win a championship.
Yeah, great possibility he's eliminated from the championship from what we just saw there. All right, drivers, I want to take a look at the Ruoff Mortgage keys to victory lane.
Yeah, these are the keys to victory lane, maybe the keys to Phoenix, the championship run. 2 spots remaining available for that championship 4 as we move forward in this race.
Cindric and Allmendinger, they're locked in points, so now they're free to go do whatever they want to do. No point racing anymore. Just go get that win.
They're going to have to get by the 9 and the 20, though. And right now, Noah Gregson and Harrison Burton very hungry. They would love to be able to have an opportunity to race for a championship next week. Final stage underway.
Noah brought him to the restart zone really slowly. Check the field up big time, trying to get a good launch. Up the racetrack.
Harrison fighting on the outside.
Noah using a lot of racetrack here. Harrison giving him plenty of room. 11 car, Justin Haley out on the racetrack. Still no brakes. He's going to bring it behind pit wall here into the garage.
That move should eliminate the 11 playoff hopes.
Now as they run side by side, the 54 of Ty Gibbs trying to close that gap.
I'm amazed that the 20 car can maintain the pace in the middle of the corner as far as the 9 runs him up the racetrack.
My concern for the 20 is how much tire is he using with 118 laps to go in this race. They can make it on fuel. If this turns into a very, very long run, has he taken tire life out of this car early?
Into the shot and Noah right there. Saw he couldn't get it done. Was able to get to the bottom before Ty Gibbs got to him.
Little bump there again.
So right now, Harrison needs to back off a little bit. Back off of him, right? And then time it so on corner exit he's making momentum. It's very difficult to do because the 54 Ty Gibbs is behind him trying to do his thing too, but you got it. Passing's all about timing, Junior. It's about where you're better than they are in the corner.
You can see that 20 car rolls through the center much quicker and I think accelerates just a bit better off the corner. You're right, get back, get a run. Now here's the moment where if he perfects that exit, he could be pulling right up alongside there. But if you're right on the back bumper that 9, you really can't go anywhere, can't create that run that you need to create on corner exit.
And the 9 is really good on corner exit. I think that he's not very good right there in the center, but on corner exit, the car turns and he's able to launch.
All right, he's right there. He put a situation together where he could almost argue that, man, I've got a good angle on that entry. The 9 car, though, again, here we are again. The 9 car, will he block it? I think the 20's there, has to give him room.
Here comes Harrison Burton, looking to the inside, trying to take the lead away from Noah Gregson. This could be a trip to the championship 4.
Now Noah Runs him real tight right here. Harrison has to be careful. He's been loose. He's had rear tires chattering. He has to be careful on entry, careful on the brake pedal, not to spin the car out or get up into the 9 car and move them both up the racetrack.
Here again. Doing good here.
Keep the pressure on. That's great advice.
And they're stacking up behind the 9 right now.
You don't want to
just put the pressure to him. You were way better than he is.
You don't want to allow that leader to get comfortable and start moving around and finding a good pace and good cover. You want to keep the pressure on, keep pushing him into the corner, keep him slipping, keep him sliding a little bit, keep him frustrated, keep him making mistakes.
And as this battle for the lead
is intense, lined up behind.
Whether it's the 9 or the 20, it doesn't change the fact that the playoff picture at the cut line is crazy. The 7 and the 18 locked into a battle over just a couple points.
Even when he isn't really in position to make a move or a run on the 9, he's a little bit offset to the left, keeping that car in the mirror. He's got the 9 car has a mirror on the A post on the left side. If I'm the 20 car, I keep my car in that mirror every straightaway, annoying and hassling this leader, Marty.
And Dale, that's what Tyler Green, the spotter for Harrison Burton, is telling him to do. You hear the voice right there. He told him a moment ago, he said, listen, you're going to have to start being aggressive with the 9. Tyler, a former driver, excellent at short tracks himself, so he knows behind the wheel what Harrison needs to hear right now, and he's giving it to him.
It's such an interesting dynamic between a spotter and a driver, right? The spotter can fire the driver up and do him harm, or he can fire him up and help him. Sometimes he needs to calm him down. Remember, it's still 107 laps to go. This is not the last lap. Parker.
Oh, guys, back in 11th place, the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Daniel Hemrick in that 18 car, just 2 points to the good. The team reassuring him that if he just keeps this pace, it will come to him. He will be able to get up to that 7 car. He was knocked out of the groove and forced back a couple positions. You see him dive the inside there, the number 1 of Michael Annett as he tries to reassess. But the team doing their best to keep him calm and remind him how fast that 18 car is right now.
When Daniel Hemrick has run the entire season, he has never missed the championship 4. Again, a reminder, Daniel Hemrick has never won a race in NASCAR. He's still looking for his first win, but he could be running for a championship a week from now in Phoenix.
Jeff, you talk about trying to be patient for the 20 and the 9. The only counter would be 105 to go. Seems like a long time, but here at Martinsville, it can click off very quickly. And if you're Harrison Burton, you just don't know if you're going to get another shot at it. You hope you're here all day long, but sometimes you need to take quickly so you take control of the race.
And the other thing is, will the person behind you become impatient? And they won't have the patience that you have. We go NASCAR nonstop from here at Martinsville.
definitely like it because the right front of his car is killed.
Caution's out for Bailey Curry. He was the one who brought the caution out. You saw that under NASCAR nonstop. And so now we're seeing a few takers coming down to pit road. Dave.
Rick Brandon Jones knew that he was not going to be able to win the race the way that this car was running. When he entered the corner, it would wash up in the corner. He said, I need an adjustment. Jeff Mendering brought the car down pit road. You see the wedge wrench going in the rear window there. Big adjustment chassis-wise for Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. We'll see if this can do it for Brandon Jones. He's got to win this race. He'll be starting deep in the field, guys.
Well, I wasn't sure. We were talking about under caution. As he came down pit road, it's the first time I've seen all that damage on the right front of the 19. I mean, I know it's a slower track, so you don't talk about aerodynamics, but the right front is pushed up quite a bit. And when you start talking about the car not working as well as you want, those type of bent up splitters like that can adjust front downforce, which can hurt the car turning the middle even in a place like Martinsville.
Got a replay here of 15 car Bailey Curry getting the right front tire cut, get down in the corner. Not sure exactly how that happened, but he got the car up out of the way and did not contact the wall. Was able to come to pit road and make the repairs there. Harrison racing pretty hard out on the racetrack, using every inch of this racetrack.
And then some maybe extra.
Hey, that's all good. These cars are pretty tough. These bodies are real tough on these cars. That's what I'm looking forward to next year with the Gen 6, or the next gen, I'm sorry. The Cup Series is being able to lean on these cars a little bit more. Parker.
Oh, guys, just a quick update. Justin Haley, we saw that fire on the left rear. In the issue with the brakes, the pedal going to the floor, they went behind the wall. They're now 22 laps down, and then he just came out from behind the wall and came on the radio and said the pedal is still going to the floor. The team telling me it's a caliper issue. You see him trying to pump the brakes there, trying to get anything he can out of those things. They're just not working. The left rear caliper having some serious issues on the 11.
Talked about guys that need to win and guys that need to point themselves in. Look at this battle right here. Daniel Hemrick and Allgaier separated by 3 points. And of course, they're right together on the racetrack. They're both being told what they've got to do. Still a long way to go, 96 laps, but only 3-point separation right now. It's going to be stressful for the rest of the race for those guys.
And it also determines who's leading the race. Right now, Noah Gregson is considered the leader, so that he takes that spot. If Noah or Harrison Burton aren't leading right now, then both the 18 and the 7 would be in.
Yeah, it's surprising with the choose rule, you see Harrison takes the inside. That gives Ty Gibbs the opportunity to start on the front row in that 54.
Coming back for the restart. 95 laps to go at Martinsville. Austin Cindric right there in the mix as well. Teammates Harrison Burton and Ty Gibbs door to door now, fighting for second.
Ty's racing pretty hard here, even knowing what is at stake for Harrison Burton, where he needs to win this race. Ty's not going to hand it to him, not going to move over and let him have it, so that Harrison can go up there and try to catch the 9-car Gregson and take the lead.
Got to stay side by side.
Got a report from Marty Snyder during that break that Harrison was talking about being too loose on corner exit. You saw it right there as he tried to go by the 54. Saw the back of the car and rolled around a little bit.
And that's frustrating when you're side by side with somebody. You can make adjustments to your line running by yourself to try to improve that situation, but when you're loose and you've got a car on your outside, you can't get into the corner as deep as you want. You see the 54 trying to chop him off on the entry, trying to clear himself. Not able to quite do it there just yet. Cindric showing a lot of patience here, allowing the 20 car to do some work on this inside.
That right there was good enough for the 54 to get by. A little bit of contact right there. So Harrison went to the top the last restart and came out in second. Went to the bottom this time and cycled out in third.
When the playoffs started, Harrison Burton told us he has to be more aggressive. He has to be more aggressive in the playoffs. He needs to get a win. And right now, Harrison Burton needs a win if he wants to fight for a championship. Marty.
Time for the Toyota update, or driver update, with Harrison Burton, who sits there in third right now, trying to hang on to that over Austin Cindric. And Jeff, yes, to your point a moment ago, Harrison did say a couple of times, I'm just too free on exit, and that's what's causing me not to be able to complete the pass. He was talking about trying to get around Noah Gregson a moment ago for the lead, but now that loose on exit condition has caused him to fall back to third. So Jason Ratcliffe sitting here thinking, how do I keep this track position, and how do I get my driver fixed up, Parker?
Well, Marty, how about a great run for Jeb Burton there in fifth, sort of sandwiched in all these playoff drivers as Daniel Hemrick looks to the inside of that 10 right now. Jeb Burton, a great short track race, always looks forward to going to the short track like Richmond here in Martinsville, having a great top 5 run, just too loose inside that 10 car right now, asking the team really to tighten it up as he tries to slot in front of AJ Allmendinger. Then further back in the field here, Riley Herbst in 13th was having a great run in the top 10, but you see that lettering wiped off the left rear, just got knocked out of the groove and knocked out of the top 10, but was having a great run up there amidst the playoff drivers and just asking the team for a little bit of advice on how to get some passes done here. Now he's going to have a lot of work ahead of him to make some passes, get back to the top 10.
The 7 of Justin Allgaier. Right now, he's on the outside of the playoffs. As far as the championship 4 is concerned, Hemrick is in front of him.
And so it's important to point out, remember, this is with Noah Gregson leading the race, because that automatically moves him to the front of the pack with that win. The Ty Gibbs in that 54 right behind him. If he passes the 9, then the playoff picture completely changes. Remember, a win and you're in, 4 drivers advance. So Allgaier has to just continue to battle. His own teammate, unfortunately, could be the one that wins and eliminates him, but he can't control what the 9 does. He has to try to go find the 7, now 6 points to pass Hemrick.
Gregson's out front. Ty Gibbs giving the pressure now, running second as we go NASCAR nonstop. Way up the racetrack goes Ty Gibbs, and Harrison Burton trying to take advantage of it. He put the nose inside there, but still can't complete the pass.
Looked a lot like earlier in the race with the 54. Looked like another wheel hop, moved him up the racetrack. The 20's trying to keep him up in that second groove. The 54 does a nice job, though, kind of getting in the back. Look at the rear rotor on the 54, the back of the car. We've seen a lot of fronts glow, but the rear rotor, look at that left rear. Oh, yeah, a big left rear wheel hop. Makes him overcook the entry. And then if you go back live, look at the left rear is actually glowing more, perhaps, than even the left front. His brake bias, his brake balance, much different than other cars on the racetrack. That's impressive that he can use that much rear brake, Junior.
And now the 22 on the inside of the 20 here. Harrison Burton under attack. Austin Cindric. And there you see the 18 car as well. Hemrick climbing into this battle.
Junior, looks like the 20 car, if he ever has to pinch the car off, just keep it on the bottom. It doesn't work for him. He needs more racetrack. I don't know if he's still loose, tight, what he's dealing with.
The 54 to drive in
just
harder.
seems like he's not quite as good as he was earlier, Marty.
Well, what he's doing is he's just driving too hard on entry. Tyler Green has told Jason Ratcliffe a few times he just got to settle the entry down. The 20 is so good. Harrison Burton is so good on these long runs, but he's trying to get past the 54 because he feels like if he can get past him, he can go catch Noah Gregson again. But now he's got the 22 to worry about it. So really, it's just reminding himself, Jeff, on corner entry, can't overdrive it.
It's real easy to slip a tire here, and especially as these cold temps, you know, keep the track temp down. It gets cooler and cooler as we go into this race. The tire chatters across the track.
And Junior, caution on the racetrack.
Caution's out, yeah, in turn 2, the car around.
Ryan Ellison.
Back up a little bit, come on, okay, now go.
His first start here at Martinsville. Looks like all the tires are up in that car. Let's take a look and see how it's getting spun out here. On the inside of the 17, J.J. Yaley loose, wheel hopping into the corner, spins the car out. J.J. gets a little contact there, but does an amazing job of saving it.
We're going to show Brandon Jones pitting for that last restart. He came out, he drove all the way up to 9th. All the way to 9th from way in the back. And now what will he do? He's in a situation where he has to win if he wants to have a chance to win a championship. Played a little different strategy. Let's see what he does now. I think most guys will come right here, but I think Brandon's probably going to stay.
I think if you don't pit now, you're committed to the end of the race. I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon Jones commits to stay on the racetrack, but the leaders all turn left. Does Brandon Jones come with them? He does. He feels that new tires were an advantage, and he doesn't want to be on a disadvantage to the rest of the field, Parker.
Daniel Hemrick will pit out of the 5th place position. Very happy in the handling of that car as he caught that front pack there. He said he just maybe need a tick turn in the center to be able to go up there and pass him. Maybe 4 tires for him, Dylan.
Noah Gregson still too tight. Said the last adjustment helped, but it just wasn't enough. So you see another one there in the back window. 4 tires and fuel for Gregson, Marty.
Harrison Burton in a must-win situation in the conversation to win this race. He said he lost front turn as the run went on. He said also the rear chatter of those tires, it's back from the start of the race where it was earlier, Dave.
Austin Cindric locked into the championship 4, wants him to go back in an adjustment from earlier. That'll be air pressure in the fronts. That'll change back, and he'll try to race for the win from here on out. Here's the race off pit road, Rick.
See Gibbs grabbing a spot on pit road, as does Harrison Burton. Noah Gregson losing 2 spots.
Tight pit road, Noah trying to leave. Jeffrey Earnhardt coming in, blocked him in.
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Visit gocreditone.com. And by Ford. Built Ford proud. Rutledge.
Rick, you know, a lot of teams down here, since it's Halloween weekend, are feeling that Halloween spirit. How about take a look at the 92 car, Josh Williams. This thing is a pumpkin on wheels. It looks great. The orange wheels really set this thing off. Alex LeBay, 36 car, another great one. Just looking so sharp, but they're not the only ones. It is cool to see so many different teams use a little bit of that Halloween spirit to change it up this weekend, guys.
And as these guys line up and pick the inside and outside line for this restart, if you look up front, that 52 car, Spencer Boyd stayed on the racetrack, so he's got old tires. Be interesting to see how well he can launch as he controls this restart and what happens around him.
And what Noah is trying to do is he's going to try to lay back just a little bit, and you can expect Noah's going to be trying to make it 3 wide entering turn 1. Lay back and get a good run.
Back up through the gears they go. 66 laps remain here at Martinsville.
There you
3
stand.
wide. Spencer Boyd in the middle.
52 could not accelerate, but look what it does to Harrison Burton, who gets moved up the racetrack into the dirty racetrack. A lot of debris up there. That's going to stick to the tires. It's going to take a few corners for that to come off.
And now he's still stuck behind Spencer Boyd.
He's still 3 wide too, Jeff. Oh, look at the
Caution, got a caution. Mike Snyder in the wall in 1 and 2.
And things starting to pick up.
Yes. Jeff, you called it. The 9 of Noah Gregson did a great job on the restart. Let's take a look at the accident first. Involved the 2 of Myatt. Here he is. Oh, 39 of Sieg. As we've seen, a bunch of wheel hop into the corner. Looks like he just gets loose in under braking, gets into the left rear of the 2 and sends him up the racetrack.
So here's the restart. The 52 car, Spencer Boyd, just doesn't accelerate quite as well on the old tires, spinning the wheels, and Noah goes to the inside, puts it 3 wide. This puts Harrison up in the dirty asphalt. That's a lot of tire debris up there, and you can see he can't go, spinning the tires. The car's spinning loose as he tries to accelerate, and he loses a lot of positions.
Great job by Noah understanding the rules. He gets a run, but right there, he cannot pull out a line and tell the start-finish line. He times it perfectly. We talk about younger drivers. These guys don't have as much experience as Sunday. As a young driver, Noah Gregson understanding exactly what he was trying to do, but Dale also understanding the rules in which he has to do it with him. And then poor Harrison. You can hear the stuff, right? You get up in that asphalt. You mentioned how dirty it is.
And that could be an opportunity to win a championship gone right there. Check this out. You talked about it. Noah timing that. The rule is you can't change lanes until you get to the start-finish line. Stays in lane. That's as close as you can cut it right there.
Yes.
I think it's a good call. I don't think NASCAR should have called anything, but a car length earlier, if he started to turn left, then NASCAR would have deemed that he did indeed change lanes before the start-finish line. But I think a good no call right there.
Jeff, you mentioned a championship may be gone for the 20 from what just happened there. Listen to his radio.
Dumbasses, man. Stupid. Man, I'd have been happy to buy those guys a set of tires if that's what they need.
He's talking about the 52 car staying on the racetrack when the rest of the field pitted. But I have to imagine that there's races all up and down pit road on this racetrack. Cars staying out on the racetrack there. He's trying to trap or keep a lot of the cars that are a lap down from getting the free pass or getting the wave around. And that's points on the racetrack. That's money in the bank for this 52 team to try to finish better.
Ty Gibbs is out front here at Martinsville. Getting gear for race day? Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, die casts, and much, much more. For all your favorite drivers, all you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/shop. All right, Noah Gregson, currently second, but he needs to win to advance. And he's in a good position now, Dylan.
Well, and we saw that close call on pit road. Crew Chief Dave Ellens was admittedly not too thrilled with what's transpired there, and you see him climbing off his own pit box and going next door to the pit box of the Zero team to have a discussion with their crew chief. So that's done, but everybody's calm. Dave said, Noah, you're doing a great job. Just stay smart. You've driven a great race. Probably don't have the best car, but they've done a great job to hold on to the lead for now. Going to have to hold on for 58 more laps when we come back green.
Nice, calm conversation. I say that because I've perhaps not executed that as great as Dave just did right there.
You don't know what they were saying, Steve. How do you know it was calm?
Calm. It was calm. Coming up on 58 laps to determine who the championship four will be and potentially who wins here at Martinsville. Green flag back in the air. Austin Cindric. A good run. Gave a shove to
we got a big crash off of turn 2.
Jeb Burton is involved. Michael Annett. Riley Herbst.
They were trying to get around Spencer Boyd. Again, out there with old tires, with not only old tires, but cars much faster than his on top of that. They were all trying to work their way around him.
And Dale, I understand, and you're absolutely right. Before he stayed out, there's a strategy call to try to pin some guys in different positions. The unfortunate part is he got the quick yellow where he could have came to pit road. He had already lost his track position, so the 52, he has every right to stay on the racetrack, but this is the risk, just well below pace. And you're going to see right here, they kind of get stacked up 3 wide because the 10 of Jeb Burton knows he has to go. He's losing time. So as the 52 kind of goes up the racetrack, the 98 goes in, the 10, the 1, 3 wide just doesn't work. The accident. And the problem is with 57 to go, I don't blame anyone. The 98 for taking it 3 wide. He drives in there. I understand why. Now, Jeb Burton's not going to like it, but I mean, you have to try to go when the opportunity presents itself.
Close call for Harrison Burton there in the 20, also in a must-win situation.
Big hit for the 1 of Annett.
Yeah, the 10 pushes the 52 up the track, tries to go fill the hole, but then the 98's trying to fill the hole between him and the 1. Just so many cars trying to funnel into a very small space.
31 out right. Bottom of 3, bottom of 4, bottom of 3, stay low, 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 low. You're good.
Harrison, close call as you mentioned, but now he gets a little bit of a kind of a break that he gets by those guys. That's a bunch of guys in one corner.
And so with this being the 9th caution, you see the AMR safety crew out cleaning up the racetrack, getting ready for racing again, helping Michael Annett.
A lot of water or something coming out of the front of that race car that they're going to need to take care of, and that's right on corner exit where you're trying to put the power down. It'll challenge these drivers, that particular part of the track.
And we're hearing NASCAR is going to red flag it while all of that fluid and cleanup has to.
And the 10 car right there, Jeb Burton, is pretty much done for the day. As you see the right front camber in that car, it looks like an upper ball joint or upper A arm is broken.
Huge disappointment for Jeb. Jeb loves this racetrack. I remember watching Jeb run his first truck race here. He was so fast. He and Ron Hornaday ended up getting into it, but he had so much speed. Loves this racetrack.
Jeb Burton and the Burton family actually growing up close to here. As they clean up the racetrack, they have stopped the field here at Martinsville. exciting series created by Travis Pastrana. It's the Nitro Rallycross. Only 3 rounds remain in the season, and Kyle Busch is going to race November 13th and 14th at Phoenix's Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. That's right, he's going to be taking on Travis Pastrana, Tanner Faust, and Scott Speed. Again, the last 3 rounds remaining in the Nitro Rallycross season. There they are, only on Peacock. Make sure to tune in. Great racing and competition there. All right, let's see if we can dial up the 22 as they sit in a red flag condition, cleaning up the track here at Martinsville.
Hey, Austin, it's the boys up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, you spooked me a little bit. Trying to take a nap.
It's no sleeping allowed, bud. Hey, man, congratulations to you and your team making Phoenix a chance to win a championship. How does that affect what you're going to do the rest of this race?
I think it's going to let me have a little bit of fun. Certainly have a fast car Quest Sport Mustang, and there's still Grand Plaza clock on the line. I know a lot of guys are racing for a lot. I know how much it means to make that championship 4 and have that chance with your race team. But I got 2 more races left here this season, and I'd love to get a grandfather clock with these guys. So try and accomplish that. Watch the show out front. If not, otherwise it's been a fun night.
All right, man. Gauge your competition for us. Where does your car need to be better? Where are their weaknesses?
I feel like that's a dangerous thing for me to say on television because, you know, everyone's just going to report back. I will say that I feel like we can hold on over a long run very well. I don't think we're going to get any of those. I think it's once you have that first couple cautions in the final stage, you're going to get a lot of cycles on the tires. So I think that's kind of played their strengths a little bit as well. Otherwise, I think we're not too vulnerable in too many places. So I'm proud of that. Otherwise, see what we got.
All right, buddy. Thank you for taking time. Again, congratulations, and I hope you have a good rest of the night.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Jeff tried to get him to show his cards.
I
Like,
did.
nope,
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I got a youngster on there. He was going to do it. He's too smart.
Making the move next year to the Cup Series. He'll drive the 2 for Penske, but now trying to defend his championship, again under a red flag condition here at Martinsville. We'll come back after cleanup. .55 laps remaining in the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs from Martinsville Speedway. The Denon Tools 250. Rutledge.
Rick, we heard Austin Cindric mention he wants that grandfather clock. This is that grandfather clock, originally made by the Ridgeway Clock Company just down the road here in Ridgeway. A beautiful trophy, and this is the one that you can see why so many people love winning a race here, because this is what you get to remember it. Marty?
Well, Rutledge, if the Justin Allgaier fans at home may have noticed in stage 2 that the 7 car really struggled. They did not get the handling and make the right adjustment coming into the second stage. But right now, Allgaier in a position to be able to advance to the championship 4. When I talked to him earlier today, he said, listen, Phoenix is such a good racetrack for us. It would be a shame if we didn't take advantage of our advantage. They are not advanced to the championship 4, but right now in a spot to make it there.
And Marty, his nemesis there right beside him sitting here under this red flag is Daniel Hemrick in that 18 car. The team has been instructing Daniel throughout this race what the point situation is, and every time he's ahead of that 7, reminding him that's all they have to do. Now, right now, both of them are in, but if Gregson gets back to the lead of this race, that's where only one of them makes it through. So they've been reminding Daniel that he has to stay ahead of that 7, and actually been talking through what they think is going to happen on this restart and what lane to choose right now, Dylan.
And Parker, Noah Gregson and company have made no bones about the fact that they don't mind being a part of the chaos. I think just as long as they're going forward and going away from it, that's really all that matters to them. So the interesting thing that's going to be on this restart here is that he's been able to hold off the cars behind him with maybe not as good of a car. Now he's going to have to restart and get up there and make a move for the lead. So is the car good enough? Maybe. But we know that when Noah gets there, if he's got a shot, he will not hesitate to move whoever he needs to out of the way for the lead, Dave.
Remember one of these recent Xfinity races here at Martinsville that rained out in the evening and then ran the next day? Well, the evening before the rains came, Brandon Jones drove to the front, took command of the race here at Martinsville. Jeff Mentering, his crew chief, was remembering that with me today and saying how this is one of his better tracks. He's had good races here, and they've gotten the car the best that it's been all evening long. My question is, will they pit again if everyone else decides to, or would they stay out?
They've got a set of tires, and Brandon Jones right now scored 6th. Steve, what do you...
I don't know if the 19 has a set of tires. They've pitted twice in this stage, so I expect the 19 not to have any stickers in the pits. My math could be wrong, but pit at the end of stage 1, end of stage 2, and twice in this final stage. That's just 4 sets of tires for the 19 car. So I think at this point, you know he's staying out. It might be the biggest advantage in it. You can win races by staying on the racetrack. Automatic track position.
We'll be right back with the restart from Martinsville. Ty Gibbs is out front. Gregson fighting for a shot in the championship 4.
We've tried to win here so many years. I've wanted to win here so bad. This place is so special to me.
Checkered flag and his first Martinsville win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes it over Jeff Gordon.
I wanted that grandfather clock ever since I was a little boy, and I got it today. My team, we all came together. I couldn't be prouder. We're going to drink a lot of beer tonight. That's what's going to happen.
Set the clock to celebration. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins at Martinsville.
All right, first of all, I want to ask Steve, did you drink enough beer? And Junior, I want to know where that clock is right now.
So I can confirm that was 2014, and we saw the sun come up. There was a lot of adult beverages, a lot of hard work. One of my proudest moments as a crew chief. This is my favorite racetrack. Dale, you had told me how much it meant to you as our last year together on the racetrack, and to win here was spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, is that clock any different than the one you could buy down at the store? It's not, but the only way you can get it is from here and by winning a race at this racetrack. And that, I grew up in a house full of those things, and I always wanted one, you know. So it was getting toward the end of my career, at least past the halfway point, and I was beginning to wonder, and we finally got one. I knew driving a Hendrick car, I was going to have a great shot at it.
I drank beer with y'all when you didn't win. I don't think I could survive when you did win. But, you know, listen, that clock is exactly, I mean, that's this racetrack, the history, I mean, you want that clock in the worst way. It's so much history. This track means something to everybody. Some people hate it because it's so hard, but that makes you want it that much more because how difficult this racetrack is.
And, you know, as a crew chief winning here, there's something about, you know, none of us grew up at Daytona or Charlotte. You know, all of the crew chiefs in here were at a short track somewhere watching your local heroes, maybe your dad, your uncle, your grandfather, whatever, work or race or drive cars at that style of track. So we put so much work into aerodynamics and pit stretch and all those things. This is kind of like the nod to what you did when you were a kid or your local heroes. So being successful here meant so much more because it is about, you don't have to lean on an engine shop or an aero group. It's about, no, this is how you call a race. This is mechanical grip. This is how you coach your driver. It's so much fun coming here. I'm with Jeff. Rarely do I think we could go to a track more than a couple times a year, but if they added another Martinsville, you would have no arguments here.
And remember, this is the oldest racetrack NASCAR has come to. Back in the 40s, they were racing here. It started off as dirt, and now asphalt, concrete in the corners.
You want to know what you remember what we did that night as we were drinking all that beer? We watched this race.
You know we're on
again.
TV, right?
We watched the race. That's how happy we were about winning here. As we went home and we watched the whole thing over again.
It was awesome.
It means the world to you when you can. I mean, truck race, Xfinity race, it doesn't matter. You get a clock for winning any of those races here, and you know when any of those guys are able to take a clock home, even the late model guys run a 300 here. They do anything to be able to take that thing home. I mean, the money's great, the prestige and the bragging rights, but it's really that unique hardware that only this track provides. What makes it so special.
We heard Austin Cindric talk about that unique hardware, but there's also a lot more on the line right now. Listen into the 16 on the 9.
The 9 has to win to get in, is that correct? Yeah, but we're locked. My concern is not that, it's just how the 9 will drive with about 3 to go, you know what I mean? Oh, guaranteed what's going to happen. You want me to tell you? Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that was correct, so I know what to be looking for.
So, what's on the line? A shot at a championship. To have an opportunity to win a championship next week, you've got to be a part of the championship for Noah Gregson. That means he has to win this race.
And to choose is such a difficult thing here because the bottom is absolutely the preferred line, especially for that front row. So quite a difficult challenge that Noah's put himself into, starting on the outside of this 54. If he can't make the pass, can he get clear and get back down in line?
It's an interesting choice, too, because you just heard that conversation waiting until lap 3. With 3 to go, rather. With 3 to go, are you there? Are you close to the 54, right? That's the question. Let's listen to what Noah's talking about.
Like I said, be mindful of when you go, let him go first. They got a guy in the truck race, like guys playing games, checking up and then going, checking up, going. So, you know the deal. Yep, tempo.
Race leader has to launch first. Looks like he does. Ty Gibbs gets into the gas quickly. Noah Gregson on the outside fighting for the lead.
Ty Gibbs in the throttle so quick right there, easily clearing the 9 car. The 9 trying to fit in that hole.
And above right there, Ty Gibbs goes around. Gregson around past him, and the caution comes out to 20. Has to check up. And now Harrison Burton has to stop before avoiding or to avoid the 54.
Now, Junior, it all started, as you said, down the backstretch. He kind of filled that hole, and I don't know if he overshot the corner. Then it was bumper cars and contact between the 9 and the 54.
Let's take a look and see how this all started. I mean, we watched it right here live. The 9 trying to fit into this tight hole right here. The 22 is going to allow it. As they get down the corner, there's a little contact to the 22, bump, bump, bump between all 3 of those cars. It did not take much. I was shocked that that's all it took to send the 54 car around. Well, these cold temperatures and the red flag and the tires cooling off.
Halfback 7 top.
Outside bumper. Effort.
Outside of you. Outside, check up. Keep
I think the 54 is trying to save the spin, but just keeps getting hammered in the back because of the chain reaction behind him.
That's it. Like the 22 gets in the 9, the 9 gets in the 54, 22 in the 9, the 9 back into the 54. Like you said, just a chain reaction. Nowhere for Harrison to go. That's a great shot right here.
Top of row here.
Watch what happens.
Oh. Stay top, very top.
Last 20 laps have not gone well for Harrison. And their efforts trying to beat and win this race. Big damage.
And so with damage to the 20 of Harrison Burton, the 54 spins. Now it's Gregson who's up front here at Martinsville.
We're gonna be a victory lane. I'm excited. I'm focused. I'm confident. This team's confident. We're gonna do everything it takes.
And they have done about everything it takes to get to the front. A little bumping and banging with Brandon Jones early in the race. Was able to get by him, then slid up the racetrack, some contact with the 20. He won stage 1. And now a little contact here late in the race with the 54. Around it goes, and he scored as the race leader. So they go back to the last loop that they went past before the caution came out. And Steve, it looks like Noah Gregson is the race leader.
Yeah, this is one of those things. I don't question the process. The last loop scored before the yellow came out is how they will score these race cars. But these are the things, if you're the 22 of Cindric, you're like, how was he the leader? He kind of made some contact and went to the right, and I went to the left, and I should be there. Which this is better than your local short track. That goes all the way back to like the last lap scored. So, you know, it is an improvement. NASCAR has loops all the way around there. But Junior, you and I both, I guess, caught our eye that, you know, the eye test, it just seemed a little odd for the 9 car. But now he has the choice, and he's going to be on the bottom with 44 to go and the playoffs in front of him. This car is going to be wide, Jeff.
It is going to be wide, but listen, there's that same sense of urgency from the 7 and the 18. Look at the points. They can't have this 9 car winning this race. So we've heard Noah all day long talk about how aggressive I'm going to be. These two guys have said, I want a calm race, but they can't play that strategy anymore. One of them quite possibly will miss the playoffs. They got to get aggressive. They cannot let that 9 car win.
Brandon Brown in the 68 behind the wall and getting ready for the restart. 43 laps to go for Martinsville.
Great restart by the 9.
And the 7. Allgaier fills the gap quickly. Daniel Hemrick also fighting for a playoff position. Right now it's Hemrick that is on the inside, and Allgaier who is now outside the championship 4.
I think it's a great thing for Noah Gregson for that 7 car to get around the 22. Because I believe the 9 has a little more pace than the 7.
It's the first time we've seen the 7 in clean racetrack.
Ooh, the 19 almost up the racetrack. Sends the 22 up the track, 3 wide right here off of turn 4. It all sorts itself out down into turn 1.
It's Josh Berry in the 31 that has made his way up here inside of the top 6.
There's 2 cars right there. They're only separated by 3 points.
And right now, it's the 18 who's in and the 7 who's out. Marty.
Rick, it's crazy that a season of work for Justin Allgaier comes down to these 40 laps as he loses second spot there. But he is out as of right now with his teammate Noah Gregson up front leading the race, as you guys mentioned, -5 below the cut line. So he knows as long as that 9's in the lead, he has to get by him. He can't have the 9 win the race right now.
You want to talk about counterintuitive? The best thing for the 7 is to let the 18 go. Because I think the 18 might be able to catch the 9. So the best chance for the 7 to get in is to let the guy he's racing for in points go to try to win the race and beat his teammate.
Dave.
When I was talking with Jeff Mendering, crew chief for Brandon Jones in that yellow 19, he told me he's one of our more calm drivers. There are times when I have to really get him pumped up, and sometimes I have to be even a little rude and crude with him. He had a crew chief early on in his career that did that, and it always got Brandon pumped up to go forward. What is Brandon Jones willing to do now to get to the front of this pack, Parker?
David, for the 18 of Daniel Hemrick, there's a double-edged sword here. The team just told him he's faster than that 9 car. He's turning laps almost a 10th faster than him and catching him. They've updated on the point situation. Remember, he has never won in NASCAR. Right now, he finds himself going on the Championship 4 in the position they're in. But how bad do you want that first win as he catches that 9, Dylan?
And Parker, all they're telling Noah Gregson to do is just keep doing what you're doing right now. They've been able to hold off consistently, charge after charge, from a bevy of different competitors just by Noah doing exactly what he's doing right now. Smooth, clean, consistent laps, but maybe the toughest challenge of all right behind him, a guy who has never won in the Xfinity Series. Going to be an exciting last 35 laps.
10 times he's finished second, and that ties the amount of times that Dale Jarrett had second place finishes before he got his first win. And now you see the gap closing. Daniel Hemrick looking for his first ever win in NASCAR, and he's also looking for an opportunity to fight for a championship.
Daniel in the 18's been about a 10th quicker each lap.
See the 22 got underneath Brandon Jones. Caution's out.
And it sounds like it's debris off the exit of turn 2 there. And so the caution has come out. That means another restart.
It's hard to tell what that is. Some bare bond. Looks like some tape. It's come off of a car.
It could be the 20. There's a lot of body parts about to come off of that too. Harrison Burton will be driving the 21 next year for Wood Brothers in the Cup Series, but obviously in his last 2 Xfinity Series races, he wanted to be fighting for a championship.
You know, the 20 car in the last 2 races brought a lot of speed. There he is. There's the debris coming off that car. They brought a lot of speed, just things haven't worked out for them. Prior to that, they were not running like they needed to run. The last 2 races, they fixed that, but just had not been able to make it happen.
Does NASCAR let them run like this?
I'm assuming they're going to come in and clean it up. I would imagine they would black flag them. They'll probably come in anyway.
We'll be back for the restart from here at Martinsville. This Halloween weekend, everyone racing for a clock here at Martinsville. We've seen fire already. And what will we see as far as fireworks on the racetrack to end this Xfinity Series race? Again, a shot at the Championship 4 is still on the line. And tomorrow, an elimination race in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. That's right, the last chance to advance to the Championship 4. That race coverage at 2 p.m. Eastern on NBC and streaming on Peacock. A very eventful. Oh, and we've got some more debris on the racetrack there, it looks like. An eventful
Hemrick took the bottom. Weekend. Sorry, Rick. I was just surprised. Hemrick shocked me and took the bottom behind Gregson. Are you surprised by that, drivers? You thought he even took the front row?
I think either way would have been fine with me. Knowing who's behind him, the 7 car goes to the outside. I think he knows he's better than the 7, and the 7 on the outside is probably not a good thing. I don't think Allgaier is going anywhere on that outside line, so a good choice by the 18 here. Rhett.
Junior, I'm wondering, we saw it in the truck race earlier, when it comes down to those last couple laps. Question I'm wondering for you and Burton, are we going to see one of these drivers dump the guy running first so they can advance to the championship? Is that going to happen tonight like it did in the truck race?
It's a good chance. I mean, the question is, you know, like, Hemrick right now is in good shape in points. Like, he's okay. But if the 7 car of Allgaier gets in front of Noah on this restart, it's a whole nother game. And then if Noah's in second, is he going to move his teammate? I mean, there's a lot of different things going through these drivers' minds right now.
Added 1 lap as NASCAR's picking up a little debris on the front straightaway. Lights are out on the pace car. Oh, we got a jack going down the back straightaway.
That belongs to Harrison Burton, guys. He left with the jack still under the car.
Yeah, now it's starting to feel more like Halloween. Some weird things going on out there.
Yeah.
And this is how that jack got out there.
Oh boy. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. You see the hand.
Yeah, the jack the car was on the ground. It's just the jack didn't come out of there.
Those would be one of those that, you know, when your driver says, "Hey, I hit a jack on the backstretch." You're like, "What? What did you just say?"
I don't even know what that thing cost. I hate to know.
Maybe a championship.
Yeah. Well, they were in trouble anyway, but
cost too much.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. That's an owner talking.
Yeah.
All right, we talk about it's a long season, a couple of races to go. Rutt just asked, what are people willing to do? Well, I think the season kind of adds up. Remember, back in Atlanta all the way in March, the 9 and the 18 have some history. They have some words. The 9 backs up into the 18, and Hemrick comes over to have a conversation that turns into some pushing, some shoving. And then at Kansas, right here, an accident on the back stretch. Gets both cars spinning, damage to both the 9 and the 18. So, you know, what happens, we talk about the length of a short track and how, you know, you can kind of bubble over. It's also the length of a season, the same people racing week after week.
Drivers' memories are great when it comes to someone who may have done them wrong throughout the season. As we get back under green, 26 laps to go. Noah Gregson in the position he has to be in. A must-win situation for the 9. The 18 and the 7. Those two are on either side of the cut line for the championship 4.
Hemrick drove into 3 really hard to commit to that corner and take the position away. That sends the 7 car back alongside the 22.
And he needs to get away from that 7 because that gives the 7 a little bit of permission. Justin Allgaier could easily move him out of the way and say, look, dude, you ran me up the racetrack.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to get treated the same. Everybody getting moved up the racetrack a little bit here late as the tension's starting to rise as we get closer and the laps are unraveling.
They're too wide for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Oh man.
Pretty aggressive as the 7 car wants the bottom of the racetrack.
Little bumping there. Brandon Jones got into the back of the 7. Gregson trying to pull away from the 18.
I think Daniel Hemrick is quite a bit faster right here. The problem for Daniel is that he needs to be smart, right? Like, you want to go win your first Xfinity race, but do you really want to be in front of the 9 car, Noah Gregson, on the last lap? Is that really where you want to be? Parker.
Well, Jeff and his team has updated him on the point situation, of course, but then Dave Rogers came on the radio, gives a little shot there and said, trust your gut, but I'll support you whenever you decide to do, basically going for this win or trying to play the smart move here and taking the points.
As much as I know you guys want him to be smart and ride here in 2nd place to go on to the Final 4 at Phoenix, he also wants to win a race. He also has a car that's capable of winning this race, and he loves racing the short tracks. It's how he came up. He wants a clock. I think he's going to run as hard as he can to try to get it.
Well, if he gets by Noah, he better get by him. He better not enter the next corner slowly, because the 9 car, he's told us. I mean, he on social media said he put a shovel in the front of his car and said, I'm going to do whatever I got to do. So that's the problem for Hemrick. This isn't a normal race where you pass Noah and he would treat you with respect. This is a race that Noah feels like he's racing for his life.
Noah's car is struggling right now on balance. As you can see, the 18 can close really quickly within one corner. Noah into the curb a little bit right there. Here's an opportunity.
Right with you right here, on the line, trying to get in.
Hemrick for the lead, diving into turn 3. He has the preferred line. Daniel Hemrick leading at Martinsville.
Now he better get away, because you can see right here what Noah Gregson's doing. Car on the bottom of the racetrack.
He accelerates off this corner. The 18 creates a little distance right there as they go down into turn 3. 18's been great in the braking zone. Doesn't allow that 9 car even to have an opportunity to get to the bumper.
Yeah, he's safe right now.
And just like that, with the 18 taking the lead, that puts Justin Allgaier in. Without Noah Gregson winner, because remember, a win and you're in. So now Gregson is 5th, 18 below. He can't really gain enough points. It was a must win really for the 9 in this final stage after things shook out through the stages. So that is a huge shift that puts his teammate right here, this bright yellow number 7 of Justin Allgaier in. And may the playoff field be on notice. That 7 car is great at Phoenix.
Right now, Austin Cindric, AJ Allmendinger, they are locks for the championship 4. They've already advanced. Hemrick potentially winning his first ever NASCAR race. Could happen here at Martinsville. He would race his way in, and Allgaier right now on points could get in the championship 4 as well.
Yeah, young driver we saw had contact early in the race. Sam Mayer, we keep talking about the speed he has, the trouble with finishing races. Well, here he is. He's overcome that, racing Brandon Jones for a top 5.
Good run for Sam. If you go back to the top of your screen, Dave Ellens, the crew chief for the 9 right here. I think you need to, we talk about controlling the emotion. Continue to coach your driver about being smart. Traffic is here. That should slow the 18 enough for you maybe to be able to beat him in traffic. Find a different lane. So don't overdrive it so much that you slow down and let the 22 in the picture. Continue with what you've done. 13 to go at this little track is a lot of time, especially with traffic out front.
Yeah, if you're running the 9 car driving it, as long as you got a little room to the 22, you can move around with your line. You can change your entry and try to do things to try to help yourself find some speed. He's been about a half a tenth slower than the 18 for most of the laps, but he's found something to sort of match the 18 car. And that traffic as well, what you said, Steve, is going to present some opportunities if he can keep it close.
That's the thing, Dale. Right now, he's 6-7 car lengths back, and the 22's closing. The 9 runs up the racetrack. I know he's probably trying to get his car to change direction, but it concerns me. Watch right here off the front of the 22. Look how high the 9 runs.
I think it works when he's got the, the gap between him and the 22, but if the 22 gets there, he'll have to get defensive on entry and stop doing that.
And that'll just bleed speed right out of his race car if he has to start pinching the corner on entry.
Yeah, he's been able to find a way to match the 18 times using that higher entry, but the lap cars are going to dictate whether he can do that or not. And you see, not able to do it right here. The 18 car pulls away just a little bit.
10 to go. How about Daniel Hemrick? I mean, so many starts, so many seconds, so many close calls. Here he is, 10 to go at a short track. Moving on from Joe Gibbs next year.
He'll be a colleague.
Yeah, now he's not thinking about next year. He's thinking about win this and going to Phoenix. Can a guy that's had so many seconds, win to move forward and then win in the playoffs one more time and become a champion? It would be quite a story.
Daniel Hemrick has said being content has been a weakness. His hunger to win is a strength. Well, he couldn't be any hungrier than he is right now, fighting for a chance to make it into the championship 4 and win his first NASCAR race.
Daniel Hemrick right now, his entire goal right now is get through lap traffic. If he gets through lap traffic, he's got a fast enough car. Of course, he does not want a caution to come out. Do not create that caution.
He's put 4 car lengths.
Oh, we got a spin at 4.
And the caution has come out. There'll be another restart.
Justin Haley goes around right here.
So Haley spins, brings out the caution for the 12th time.
Noah Gregson loved that caution.
Need to bring out the caution. The right front just exploded.
Daniel Hemrick and Justin Allgaier hated that caution. They were both rolling with a chance to go to Phoenix. Whole new game now.
That'll close the gap again between the 9 and the 18.
Oh, and you take the lead.
Here's Justin Haley getting down into turn 3. And he talked about having some brake. He's had brake issues all night long and continuing to have more right here.
Remember when we were interviewing Austin Cindric, he made a comment that he knew everybody around him had different situations, right? And he knew drivers were going to be doing all different kinds of things to win this race. Well, he's going to be right there watching it. He's going to sit here in third.
It's a tough situation, I think, for Noah. We talked about the choose cone and line up. If you're second place, do you go the outside, Steve? Do you go to the inside and line up in third?
You line up in third and you push him into turn 1.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, this choose in my mind comes down to what you're willing to do. If you're racing clean door to door, I believe your best chance to win is outside the front row. If you know in your heart you have no problem sending the leader off into turn 1 a little too tough and try to take out not take out of the race, but move up the racetrack, both of the front row cars, I think you line up inside of row 2. But you mentally better decide how you're going to drive the first corner when you make this choose.
Winners take the front row.
There you have it. Winners take the front row. I like that attitude. I know it's easy to say you should push the guy, this guy, but from what I've seen today, the best chance to take the lead has been the outside of row 1 when you talk about good, clean, short track racing. How about the drivers down there? You all have an opinion one way or the other?
Well, I feel like if I definitely didn't have any pace and I was concerned about the balance of my car, I'd definitely line up in third and push him into turn 1 and push him up the racetrack. If I felt like my car was good, I'd maybe try to race him on the outside, but I haven't seen really anyone beat anybody on that outside. And you're going to end up getting stuck on that outside and passed by the 22 or whoever else is lined up on that inside. So if you want to go to the Final Four, I think you're gonna have to do some things you're uncomfortable with.
And we talked about it, Junior. Your morals and values are going to be tested with this point situation at this racetrack, and this is where it is all on Noah Gregson right now. What is that choice? The truck race earlier today, third one on the last restart. On the inside, he was able to get that win. Zane Smith. All these drivers talked about that truck race, watching it, how it made them nervous. How does that impact his decision right here? We just heard winners start on the front row. Let's see if that's what he does.
There he goes to the outside. Now, the 22 is not in a must-win position. Maybe if you're Hemrick, you can expect to get a little courtesy down here in turn 1 and 2.
Do your thing. If you run the 9 up too much in the center, the 22 is going to peak below you, so just be smart.
Yeah, hey, listen.
Yes, sir.
Let's don't overthink this thing. Right, drive down in the corner, do what you always do if you're Daniel Hemrick. You know Noah Gregson's going to try to do something different, but he's on your outside. You've got him in the position you want. Focus on driving your race car if you're Daniel Hemrick. Don't overthink this thing.
It's overtime, presented by Credit One Bank. Daniel Hemrick on the inside, Noah Gregson on the outside. Noah Gregson has to win to be a part of the championship 4. Daniel Hemrick looking for his first ever NASCAR win. Green flag back in the air. '22 on the 18's bumper. They're side by side down the backstretch.
Great exit by Noah.
That was impressive. I did not think it was possible, but Noah may take the lead off of turn 4.
Gregson's in the lead, but the caution comes out.
Caution, clear.
Before they got to the start-finish line. There'll be more overtime.
Who was leading? Daniel thinks he was.
Well, NASCAR's getting ready to tell us who was the leader.
When the caution came out, the last lap or the last line that they went across under green is the way they'll be scored.
So, Rick, the 9 is the leader. NASCAR has said it. I want to give Noah credit. We continue to bring the storyline of what will you do to make it into the playoffs. We watched the truck race where people were moved. We've seen other races. everything on the line for a driver who's staying in the Xfinity Series, yet he chose to line up on the outside and pass the 18 as clean as you could pass it. Well done, Noah Gregson.
Here's the caution.
Yeah, you saw the 98 car. Riley Herbst, he locked the left front tire up, getting into turn 3 and got into the side of 31. Seen that multiple times a day.
All right, so Rick, you mentioned loops. Let's just show everybody at home what that means. It's a half-mile racetrack. There's a lot of loops, right? I mean, look at them, lines all the way around the racetrack. So basically, when you see the red lines are all of the different loop lines around the racetrack. So it's only a half mile.
Right.
And there's only a few hundred feet between each one. So at the time of caution, they go back to the last one. So they're saying L6 was the last one. So if you look around.
Our left screen, yep.
Right here, right there. That's where he was basically the leader before the yellow came out. Well done by NASCAR to figure out who's where. So now it's a question of lane choice, and I just want to go back. You know, we had all that conversation about where they should restart. Junior, I thought he chose wrong. I thought the bottom progression. And you know what? A+ driving, believing in his car, believing he can get it done on talent alone. And I don't know if he'll win this race, but that last restart impressed me from that driver.
Yeah, he's done an incredible job so far, and I'm with you. I didn't think that he had the car and the ability in the car to make that move. But he did a good job just getting a straight run off of the top of turn 2, and that was what it needed. I think the 18 was getting a ton of pressure from behind, and he was having a hard time keeping rear traction. You could see that car trying to spin into turn 3.
Well, now we get to do it again.
Well, hey, listen, do it again. What lane do you pick? Like, I have a hard time if I'm Noah Gregson giving anybody the inside. I think he's got to pick the bottom. Let's go back and watch this restart. Look at the launch. So right here, I thought Noah got himself in trouble. He went, but then he stopped. Great job right there, recognizing that had he continued to move forward, NASCAR would have black flagged him. And then a little bit of contact from the 22 that hurt the 18. But all the way back in that Geico restart zone, Noah got a launch, and he made the adjustment. He slowed down, then let Daniel Hemmer get going again. Great recognition by Noah Gregson.
2 wins already this season for Noah Gregson at Darlington and Richmond. He has said he's willing to lay it all on the line. Well, this is for a chance at the championship 4, and Hemrick is going to follow him to the inside.
It's up to you. I know you want the W here. Just be smart about it. Think picture as well.
The strength of the 9 car and Noah Gregson all day long has been restarts. That's been their strength. Long runs is when they've got themselves in a little bit of trouble with speed.
With Noah Gregson out front as the leader, that puts Allgaier back out of the championship 4.
And Sam Mayer, I'm like, man, I got no right front fender. I'm still in this thing. I'm on the 2nd row.
We know how good cars drive with the right front fender. He's got an advantage.
So you're saying I've got a chance?
Absolutely. I'm not saying this is the last overtime.
We'll try again. It'll be 2 to go when they get to the line. Gregson with a great restart. Now the 22 up to 2nd. One more time around for Gregson when they get to the line.
Noah's got to get that car back to the bottom of the racetrack. Cannot show Austin Cindric the inside lane.
Sam Mayer to the inside for 3rd, the 18 car.
Cindric mentioned how badly he wanted a grandfather clock. What will he do in 3 and 4? Up the racetrack goes Noah Gregson. Here comes Cindric to the inside. It's a drag race. Cindric and Gregson's gonna win.
Wow, hell yeah, dude.
Yes! Yes! Thank you, guys.
That's pretty cool, man. Good job.
Up the racetrack he went. And now Gregson has raced his way in for his first career championship 4 appearance.
Thanks so much. I love you guys.
You got to give him a lot of credit. Said he was going to come here and win. Said he was going to do everything it took. And he didn't have to get dirty doing it. He went out there and passed them clean on the outside. drove like a veteran. We've seen this kid make a lot of mistakes in his career, do some things that maybe probably shouldn't have done, or that he might go back and do differently. Tonight he drove like a veteran.
That's a career-defining drive right there. I mean, think about what he did through this entire race. Not just these last two restarts, this entire race. He had cars behind him that were a little bit quicker. He was able to hold them off, keep his track position. Then he lost his track position. One kept his composure, which is what his weak spot has been. Then took advantage of a late race restart. Incredible drive-by. That would be a great drive for any driver, much less an Xfinity driver trying to become a Cup driver. Tremendous work by Noah.
He has said it's more about the journey than the finish. But what he did today just lengthened the journey. He has one more race and a possibility now at a championship. And he's losing rear tires.
His finishes at this track, the two races we ran here, third, second, and now a first. He never finished outside the top 10 here in Xfinity or in the Truck Series.
Junior,
Not gonna run that car next week.
Yeah, he doesn't have wheels left, it looks like. The tires are gone. They've climbed the fence before, and it looks like they're going to do it again. So many times we see drivers will move another driver out of the way to get a win, but this was a clean win for Noah Gregson in the fact that never used the bumper. Made a pass on the outside of Daniel Hemrick, put him in position for the final restart. Was able to hold off a hard charging Austin Cindric, and he gets his third win of the season. And it looks as though he's going to take the helmet off, and he's got a refreshment that he might be able to
a fan gave him a beer, Rick. How about that? And I think we're going to see a shotgun beer. Yes, indeed. Here you go. Why not? He is loving this moment, biggest moment of Noah Gregson's career. He said all week long, we're going to win the race. He said before the race, we're going to win this race, and he did it. One more celebration with the team. Special hug from Dave Ellens. Noah, you said all week long we were going to win this race. What gave you so much confidence this moment would happen?
This team. Good job, big dog. Thank you. This team, this Bass Pro Shop team. I want to cry right now, Marty. It's been a rough season. We got a couple wins there at Darlington and Richmond, and you know, it wasn't looking good after last weekend. I was pretty fired up, but I told my guys that we got an opportunity. We're still in it, and sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm so thankful. It's just such an awesome opportunity. Second win here at Martinsville. Get to take home a clock. My buddy Zane Smith. Congrats, Zane, on your win today. This team's unbelievable, and how about all these badass fans out here? I love you, Martinsville. You guys are awesome.
You tweeted the picture earlier this week with your car with a snowplow. Does it make it more gratifying, though, that you did it with an outside pass? You did it clean today.
Yeah, I seen there's a dude in camo shirt flip me off after the contact with a 54. I didn't mean to get into him. I got hit in the back by the 22, and it's just a stack deal. So, yeah, overall, just awesome day. I was telling all the guys at the pre-race deal, I said that snowfall was engaged. We're going to be digging, get out of the way. And, man, Johnny Morris, Z-Man, JP, everybody at Bass Pro Shop, Rusty, Page, everybody at True Timber, Matt Evan, Black Rival Coffee, everybody who's helped me get to this point in my career, Bill Hanley family, Dustin Ash Motorsports, Jefferson Pitts Racing, Kyle Busch Motorsports, and especially all you fans. I couldn't do it without you guys. I love my mom, my dad, my sister, my whole family, and I'm emotional right now, and I know I'm going on and on, but dude, this is Martinsville, baby. This is Martinsville. We're going to the Final Four, baby! Yeah!
What a fun moment, Rick. Noah Gregson certainly enjoying this one.
Watching the last corner here, the 9-car wheel hopping down into the corner, moves up the racetrack, saves this potential spin, gets a good little run off to be able to keep that lead and hold off the 22 car.
I can't imagine what was going through his mind when that thing started wheel hopping down into 3.
Yeah.
Oh no!
You know, when you, even with the 22 where he was, you just never know what that driver behind you is going to do, and you're going to send it down in that corner as hard as you can.
Here's the championship 4. Again, a title will be determined next Saturday. Noah Gregson races his way into the championship 4. Daniel Hemrick once again will be a part of the championship 4 based upon points. Allmendinger, Cindric looking for his second championship, trying to defend.
And amazingly, 4 different organizations: Junior Motorsports, Colic, we have Joe Gibbs Racing, and Team Penske. So 4 different organizations will have an opportunity to become a champion.
We're going to hear from many of the drivers. The closest Xfinity finish at Martinsville ever, 64 1/1000ths of a second, is what Gregson had on Cindric to get the win. And with the elation, on the other side of that is disappointment. Justin Allgaier won't race for a championship next week. Noah Gregson came in knowing what he had to do. He fought. He succeeded. Noah Gregson wins the race at Martinsville. The celebration continues. We'll talk to more drivers when we return. Couple new Goodyear tires on the back of the 9 of Noah Gregson, and he will now head to the Ruoff Mortgage victory lane. Again, he mentioned the 2 wins he had previously this year, Darlington and Richmond, and now Martinsville. So good for the 9 team, Noah Gregson, as they're going to try to put some tires on that car. We mentioned the disappointment. Justin Allgaier misses making it to the championship 4. He's with Dave.
Well, Justin Allgaier took a long time after the checkered flag talking with his wife about this. She's seen you through every up and every down. And for the first time in a long time, we're not going to see you in the championship 4 next week. It just wasn't enough tonight, Justin.
This wasn't enough. You know, we played the safe strategy, and we talked about it before the race and felt like that was the smart strategy. Just gave up too many points, you know. Daniel was obviously a lot better than we were tonight, and put himself in good position to get the points. And then, you know, at the end there, I thought we were fine. You know, the 54 was leading, and then even once Daniel got by Noah. But hats off to 9 guys. I mean, obviously, same shop, you know, so at least we got 1 car going to the playoffs. But just super disappointing. You know, everybody at Junior Motorsports has worked so hard on the 7 team. Yeah. You know, law of averages says we've been in it the last so many years. You know, at some point you're going to have a bad year. By bad, I mean 5th going into the final round, but still just disappointing.
What do you think it will be like going to Phoenix next week, a track where you perform so well? I assume you just want to go out there and show them you still do, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns with whether they put PJ1 down, if they don't, if they're going to do resin. We don't really know what to prepare for, but you know, we're going to go out there, we're going to try to win the race and do everything we can to do that, and hopefully learn a lot from what we didn't do right tonight and come back next year and be in a lot better spot.
Can you share with us the gist of the conversation with Ashley?
You know, she just told me, she said, you know, you've done such a great job and you did everything you needed to do tonight. You know, we did what we needed to do. And she said, you know, you've been in this spot before and it just didn't work out, and it didn't, you know. So I got a rock star of a wife, that's for sure. So, you know, she's my hero, and definitely disappointed we didn't make it, but I know that she'll be right by my side next week whenever we go to Phoenix.
Daniel Hemrick finishes 3rd, and it looked like there, barring a late yellow, you may have been rumbling towards your first victory, but you are moving on to the championship 4. How do you assess your emotions right now?
I'm not really sure how to feel right now, Parker. I can tell you I'm just pretty disappointed. I had to make a decision there to, you know, first caution comes out and you're checked out, and felt like, first off, what a great probably bank Toyota Supra. Just checked out, biding time, counting laps down, and caution came out. I knew it wouldn't be that easy, and that's fine. 22 got into me in the 1 and 2. He's also trying to win the race, same as I am, and it got me in a bad angle. Let the 9 take the lead. Caution comes out again, and I wanted to choose the top. The race at 9. It's kind of risk versus reward, though, right? Start the season off with 1 goal, and that's to try to do what we officially have a shot to do next week, and that's run for a championship. And that is the ultimate goal, but I don't know. A win would have been nice. At least to be on the front row and have a shot. And right decision, I don't know. Right for next week, of course.
How do you make that decision, though? What's going through your mind when you're going into that restart and that choose cone and you're having to decide, or you want to be in a position maybe to push that 9 up the track, or obviously take the better part of valor and get the points and go on to the championship 4?
Yeah, the racer in me wanted to line up on the top and just let it rip and give it all we had to try to win. But there was so much dynamic to the situation, you know, with ultimately surrounded by JRM cars, right? I mean, you got the 7, the 8, the 9. I don't know. I don't know what else could have done there. I feel like I had to choose the bottom. At least if I got shucked out of the way, I wasn't at the top and bleeding spots. I could at least manage what I had. The 8 gave me a shot. About lost it in 3 and 4 coming to the wide, and then it was just watching the 9 to 22 settle out, as disappointing as that was to watch. So I don't know. Good thing is we get a shot at the ultimate goal, and that's next week.
Daniel Hemrick and his team may have come short here in the battle, but they got a shot at the war.
Let's go down to Marty, KP, and DJ.
Yeah, Noah Gregson getting ready to climb out of the race car. By the way, your championship 4, DJ, spot on. You got all of them right.
Yeah,
Noah's climbing right here.
Get in there, Marty.
I'm not getting in there with the champagne being sprayed on us as Noah climbs out of the car. What an incredible night for that young man's career, DJ.
You know, he did everything he's supposed to do. He was aggressive throughout the entire night. They had a great strategy. Pit crew did a nice job, got them where they needed to be, and then that young man did his job. It looked like whenever things weren't going to work out for him, he got another opportunity, and he made the most of that.
Yeah, it was amazing after watching the racing earlier in the truck, and we saw some of the highlights in pre-race, to watch how clean these guys, and with so much respect. I said in pre-race, throw respect out the window. There was a lot of respect shown between these guys tonight. And that guy up there, Noah Gregson, he drove an incredible race. I'm telling you, he is so mature. Oh, I'm behind Marty. I'm behind
This is me behind Marty.
Oh,
But he drove an incredible race, man. It was that was great racing.
Well, like I asked him, DJ, so all week long, he tweeted those snowplow pictures. He said, hey, I'm going to do whatever. To win it clean, though, there's got to be something there that makes it more gratifying.
Yeah, I was interested to see him choose that outside, but it was nice to see him do that and say, I'm going to use my ability and what I think my car is capable of and what I can do as a driver, not having to push somebody out of the way in this situation. I can outdrive them down into the corner and then get off the corner. He did everything that you would want a driver to do. I know that Dale Jr. and his entire organization is proud of him, and his sponsors are, for the way that he did that and went out and took this race and won it there. You had to feel for Daniel Hemrick. It looked like he had that first win in hand, but maybe that'll come next week in the championship race.
Well, the driver who clinched after stage 2 and almost won this race on the last lap, Austin Cindric, is standing by with Parker.
Austin Cindric came into tonight in a great points position. Then it was just past stage 2. Brian Wilson came on the radio and said, we're locked in. And you asked, can I go racing for the win? He said, yes. Talk to me about those late race restarts, though, and the decision-making of who you were going behind and where you've restarted.
Yeah, there was a lot that went into it. I felt like I had a shot as the third-place car in both ways, whether if that's, doing what Dane Smith did in the truck race, which I think is a great move at a racetrack like this, or trying to roll the top on the outside. Kept it in third gear, got the momentum, got clear for second place, and I put front bias into it, drove it in as hard as I could into 3, but I wasn't going to use up Noah. Obviously, I intend on racing for a championship a certain way. I said it after Bristol, and here in that win, and just need a couple more inches, maybe need up the track just a little bit more, but overall, really proud of this season. I've been saying it since last year, and this year I feel the same way. I'm not talking about going back-to-back. It's about making it to the Champ 4, and I feel like that's the hardest thing you can do in the National Series is to make it there, and once you do, it's a bonus. You get to go have a great day and try and make the most of the opportunity.
You can say that, but what does it mean to now have a chance to defend your title and go back-to-back? I mean, that's a pretty rare thing that we see these days, so, I mean, that has to mean a lot to you.
I have to at least equal Tyler Reddick's effort. I at least have to equal Tyler. If I want to do something, at least I can try and be equal with Tyler.
I got it. Just equaling Tyler Reddick. Well, Austin Cindric obviously all smiles as they head towards the Championship 4 at Phoenix.
Championship 4. Again, that's next Saturday on NBCSN. Xfinity Series Championship race from Phoenix. That race coverage begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Trying to decide a champion. Will it be Austin Cindric? Can he repeat and do what he did a year ago, or will someone else win the race? It's been have to go out and win the race to win the championship. All right, guys, now that we know who the championship 4 are, final thoughts. Steve, start with you as far as what we saw here in Martinsville and what we look forward to in Phoenix.
Well, what we saw here at Martinsville was what I call the feeder series, the younger stars on Saturday putting on a very mature performance. They went out with everything on the line.